Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate pre-show and after-show goodness. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate forum to keep up to date with the community debate. Now, we are in the interim stages between two debates, so while I set up for the next live show, I'll hand over to the panel. I will give them a full introduction when we start the actual live show.
Agree based on the explanation that he gave.
Deduction is the last part. It's not the beginning. There's a part between. There's parts in between that you've got to get to, and you're not got there. Deduction is the last part. I've deduced that the cause of that boulder falling down the hill is someone pushed it. That's an empirical statement. I deduced that. How did you get to the deduction?
Joseph.
Well, considering that you weren't there to see the person push it down, you would have to gather the evidence that would support that. And you would draw that conclusion based on the evidence that you gather. And I've said that too 1,000 times. And I use the detective example as a direct way of doing that, right? You draw a conclusion based on the evidence that you gather. That's a definitive conclusion. And then sure, you deduce at the end of it, but deduction is a process that's used throughout the method. It's not something that's absent. So I'm not. That's what I'm saying. Where is what I'm saying a non-answer? I would like to know.
Well, you haven't determined in any of your things what the dependent and independent variable are. You haven't determined that. And that's part of what Nathan's trying to get you to.
Well, I'm not a scientist, so I can't give those rigorous answers, right? But if you're trying to have me sit here and support something that I support simply because I trust an expert and I'm going to be flagged for that or something, then I'll wear that stripe. But at the end of the day, I'm not a scientist, right? I work in the medical field, but I'm not a scientist. I don't deal with those things on that rigorous level, right? So I can't give those specific answers, but I can give the answers I can give based on my understanding. And if that's not suffice, then that's not my problem. I don't have to sit here and acquiesce to, what people want to hear from me. I can give you what I think, and if you don't like what I think, then you can move on to
what you think.
Yeah,
we care
give a shit.
what you can scientifically validate, not what you think.
Yeah, who gives a crap what you think? Nobody cares what you think. We're asking you for answers that have specific answers to them, not just what you think.
That's all everybody here is doing. I don't imagine any of you guys have gone out and done all these experiments. I don't imagine that's
Really?
happened.
You don't imagine? We're not interested in your imaginations either.
Okay, so what are you giving me when you give your opinion? What is that?
Facts.
I'm not giving you my opinion.
Yeah, facts. We're telling you, or I'm attempting to, when you interrupt 9 times out of 10, after I point out that you're totally wrong in what you assert. Well, I'm trying to give you the correct information, how you actually elucidate the cause of an effect. And all you can do is laugh when I ask you, at the end of you reading out the definition for the scientific method, what part of it actually establishes the cause of an effect. And you can't do it. You just tell me that you trust in scientists at the end. It's like, well, why are you the man who spent 45 minutes, probably an hour, telling us about how to do this? And now you say, well, I'm not a scientist. Well, why the hell are you trying to tell everybody and my audience how to do this if you don't know?
Were you a scientist?
No, but I know how to perform the method, and you don't.
And how am I supposed to believe you?
You don't have to. You can verify what I say, or choose to believe the nonsense you spout on my show to an audience that is dumber for having listened to you.
So give me an experiment I can do at home.
Slick gave you one. Repeat back what Slick told you. He gave you a very specific experiment.
Like, what experiment can I do at home?
Yeah, he's told you one. He's already given... You've had this. I'm just testing to see if you listened.
You're not my mother or father, so this is not a test for me to use. That's not how this works, right? So if Slick wants to tell me an experiment, I'm all ears.
He already has. I'll say it a third time. He's already given you an experiment, a very specific one that's easy and can be done at home. I want to see if you actually listen to a word Slick said.
Look, like I just said, You didn't fuck my mom, and
Right. Is this the time? Is this because you're so humiliated with your own ignorance that you'd rather swear and insult
Are
people?
you drunk?
I am sober.
How are you even talking about your
Get
mom
the
like
hell
that,
outta
bro?
here.
You bugging.
Oh, come on. You guys don't have a sense of humor, man. Get out of
No,
here.
no, we're talking about the shape of the Earth, and I take it extremely seriously. I don't find it funny.
I'm sorry to have offended you.
Yeah, you have. Your nonsense is deeply offensive to me. The benign crap that's come out of your mouth literally offends my ears.
Yeah, typical baller. Yeah, they
That
do
was
say
funny, man.
ignorance
Come
is
on, dude. I
bliss.
can take a joke. You guys can roast me. It's okay.
Clown.
But
You
it's
don't
just
even
what
know
I
what
heard.
you're doing.
John.
You don't know what
I don't-
science is.
John.
You'd fail 5th grade general science, sir. And a 60-level
Hey, John.
basic reasoning course.
Idiot.
Idiot.
John,
You got a hypothesis
Ketoacidosis.
yet? You got an experiment yet?
Hey, John, he's in the medical field. He's the ketoacidosis.
No, I'm
He's
not
in the medical field. What? Does he clean up the hallways?
No,
I thought
not,
you said
not,
you were in the medical
not in that way. I work with like homeless people with addiction and stuff like that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
Oh.
feel sorry for them.
Sorry about that.
Well, I'm a pretty good worker, but okay. My ideas have nothing to do with how well I do my job.
What is the scientific
Okay,
method?
hey, excuse me, guys. So hold on a second, because now we're just going round and round. We're pretty much established what's going on here, so we can end this and kind of move on to something else. Everybody understands what happened. So as there's no sense in just continuing going round and round. And I can sum it up if you don't mind. I'll take 2 seconds. What Nathan is saying is that there's a scientific method that you can find out a cause for effect. What Joseph is saying is that you can use deductive reasoning, but you won't get 100% on that cause. Now you're guessing, but you're not absolutely sure because you can't manipulate the variables. Now that's what Joseph is saying, like with a star rotation. They can deduce, but they can't come up with an exact because they can't manipulate the variables. Now, Joseph, am I correct?
No, that would be induction.
Whatever. Am I correct?
Yeah, we're just using the right word, right? But
Right.
to come up with a cause, like to come up directly with the cause of something empirically, unless you were there to see it for yourself and you could know 100%, right? From
Like
that
boiling water.
from that point of view. Right.
Didn't you start with seeing it? Doesn't it start with the observation?
No, like if I'm at the bottom of a hill and I see and a boulder just rolls down, I didn't see what caused that. I just know the effect. The effect was that the boulder's coming for me, right? So if I wish to go investigate that because I was not there, right, I would have to use a multitude of things. I know that this is not a suffice answer, but I would have to use a multitude of things, right, to determine what the cause was. Now, what that one thing is, sure, I don't know what the one thing is, but I know that you use a multitude of things to determine what the cause of something was.
Okay, can I
Now,
just...
whether or not-
sorry,
whether or not-
before you
whether or
carry
not-
on,
Stop this.
hold on. So you said you don't
Whether or
know...
not it's 100%.
well, yeah, I've heard. We've heard. You've got to the end. You've said,
No, it wasn't
we don't
finished.
know what the end cause is. That's what you've just stated, right?
No, the initial cause.
Yeah,
You don't know
that's
if-
the
if I watch
cause.
if I watch a boulder roll down a hill, right?
Yeah, I know. We've heard.
The initial cause of that.
Yeah,
So I
I
want to
heard. Now let me illuminate this situation a little bit for you. There is
Sure.
a method for empirically establishing what caused that effect.
What is it?
Did you just say what is it?
Yeah.
It's called the scientific method.
Isn't that what I said?
No, what you said is you can use inductive reasoning and you can establish it with data that you gather, which would be wrong. There is a single thing, not lots of things, not lots of data, not hundreds of things, but one thing that you can do to establish the cause of that effect. I have now told you twice when I finish this statement, if I'm not interrupted. What you would do is first use your little noggin to think, have a little guess what you think might cause the effect. At this stage, you're not establishing the cause. You're having a little guess. But what you'll do to make sure your guess is right or wrong is formulate something called a scientific prediction. That's got another name. A scientific prediction is a hypothesis. And what you will do once you establish your hypothesis is do hypothesis tests called experiments. Now, once you experiment, you will vary. This is the key detail. You will vary and manipulate that which you presume causes the effect. And if it does cause the effect, you have caused the effect. That's science.
So this whole time I've been defining the scientific method, and I started off defining hypothesis, and I went into giving scientific method, and and you asked me what would I do, and I said we use the scientific method, and then you said what is the scientific method, and I gave the answer for the scientific method. You've now topped it all off with saying I know the right answer, you're wrong, and I said well what is the right answer, and you top it all off with the scientific method.
Okay, this is what happened, Joseph. This is what happened. This is the point that you're missing.
We
Okay,
can whack.
hold. Now, are you going to listen?
I
Now,
will.
okay, with your boulder example, you were never able to find out the cause of that boulder. Now, you can guess and you can induce, but you can't reproduce what happened at the top of that hill that you didn't see. So you can guess all day long and apply all the methods you want. You will never find out exactly what that cause was because there's no way that you can. And this is the point that Nathan is trying to make to you. There's a difference between empirical and guessing. See, what you're doing is guessing. That's a big difference than knowing.
But
That's
Slick,
all this is.
Slick, he just said that we would know using the scientific method, right? That's what he just said, right?
Right, but I'm trying to explain.
Right, but Slick, that's what I've said.
No, but the problem is,
That's how this conversation started. He asked,
Okay,
"How would
right.
you do it?"
Okay,
Scientific.
but
Sorry
you're
to
missing
interrupt.
one point.
Slick,
But
bear
the
with me a
point
second.
that you're missing.
What's the main
Sorry,
point
Slick,
I'm missing?
Slick. I just want to ask him the same question because it's been given twice and now he's claiming the ownership of my explanation. That's fine. I don't mind. It happens all the time. But we can test whether or not he understands it by asking him the question again. The same question that keeps being asked. What specifically, Joseph, is done to establish the cause of an effect? What will be done? The one thing. What's done?
There's no one thing. You didn't lay out one thing.
You see, Slick? See? He doesn't get it.
No, hold on, wait a minute. You yourself didn't lay out one thing. You
Yeah, I
just
did.
laid
Oh,
out
he
the scientific
did.
method.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, definitely laid out the one singular specific thing that has to be done in an experiment to establish the cause and effect. I definitely told you. You've taken ownership of my explanation like you said it already, but now you can't repeat back that single thing, even though it was only told to you 2 minutes ago by
The
me.
answer is the scientific method. I said that from the beginning.
Yeah, it's a method. It's a method. There's several stages in it. And I want to know what particular stage in that method gives you the cause of the effect. Let's see if you can tell me.
No idea.
Well said. Absolutely. So when you said it's what you said all along, now that we're trying to find out the nitty-gritty details of what you'll actually do, the same question that's been on the table the entire time, how do you establish the cause? What was it you just said?
I don't know.
Okay,
You
now
don't
see, now
know.
right here. This is okay. Now let me just mediate again.
Come on, Slick.
This
Don't
is the
ruin
po-
this for me. It's taken me nearly an hour.
I'm sorry, my fault. Go ahead.
Joseph, do you want to repeat what you just said?
Hold on. No, allow me to just get a drink of water first.
Yeah, you need it. You need it for that humble pie and humility. That lump in the throat's probably quite large by now.
I have to repeat what I said one more time. Wait a minute. Hold on.
Yeah, clown. That's what he is. Yeah, you're a liar. You're not only ignorant, you're a liar.
That's why I was trying to mediate
You're
this
a
point.
liar.
Listen, guys, listen. This is why I was trying to mediate that point because we're at that level now. See, this is what happens with globe people. They can't back up their assertions, and what happens is once they get up against the wall, they get real silly, and everything's a joke. And this is what happens constantly. All of you guys out there, you don't believe in your product. That's why you start laughing and getting all silly.
Look, I've explained it's the scientific method.
Listen, you know what? This conversation is over with you. Let's end that. Cut them, kick them, do whatever you have to do. But this silliness, once you start that, you're out. Move to the next guy. Will somebody kick this guy, please?
No. Don't kick him.
Well, quiet him, mute him, whatever you have to do. But this conversation, listen. This conversation,
Come on.
I'm mediating.
2 days of moderation and you want to kick him already?
It's like a day of moderation.
I'm putting my foot down. I'm mediating. This conversation with Joseph is over.
That's not a hippie decision right there. You gotta, okay? Hippies allow things. They have many.
Listen, John, don't start that hippie stuff. I don't want to hear that because I really, listen, I'm going to tell you.
You'll see the Hulk, John. You'll see the
I really
Hulk.
don't appreciate that hippie stuff, okay? Don't play games with me because I don't play, okay? So don't start that hippie stuff. I don't want to hear it anymore.
Playing games. I don't understand
I'm
why.
not talking to you. I'm not talking to you.
Well, we have a difference of ideas, man. This is not like a war.
I know, but you coming in here acting silly and we're not joking. This ain't no joke. What you think this is? Some type of game?
I thought you guys were just having a casual conversation.
No, we're not having a casual conversation. It's a serious conversation. If you don't know how to have a serious conversation, then you need to go find some kids to play with.
Oh my goodness,
Joseph, this is not called flat Earth casual conversation. This is
I didn't realize that. I thought when this guy was going on about his show and stuff, I sat back and I was like, what the hell is going on? I didn't realize what was happening, right? So now that I'm starting to realize where I am. I just thought this was because I do Google Hangouts a lot. So I just thought that this was a regular hangout with a bunch of guys just sitting around kicking it, talking about, flat Earth and stuff. I'm down for that, like fun conversation.
So you didn't know where you were, right? Now,
no, I didn't. Like that's 100% legitimate. I did not realize where I was. So, and the no swearing thing, I apologize. I shouldn't have cursed. That's
right.
my bad.
I haven't kicked you. No, I've tolerated it. It's fine. It's fine. What the no swearing rule, the point of it is normally when people swear, they're triggered. And you were a perfect example of that. That's why I have the rule. Not because I want to kick you. It's a good excuse at some point if you just can't stop doing it. But I don't want to kick you out. Far from it. You're great. I want you here. Because you are typical of most people's attitude towards this subject. You see it, as you've just ably demonstrated, as a bit of a laugh, until you are faced with a load of wolves who know precisely what they're talking about, contrary to you, who doesn't. And when we call you ignorant, it triggers you, and you start talking about fucking mothers. Well, that's fine. It just shows the audience, the people I'm really interested in, just how triggered you are. That's good. I like that. Hey, Carlos, how you doing? You hear us?
Hello.
Hello. And Zinda, have you got your mic working? Can we hear you?
I
don't know if you can hear Zinda.
I just couldn't hear you before, but now I can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you too. You're loud and clear. Starting live in about 2 minutes. Get any swearing that you need to do out now.
I want to apologize to Slick for calling him a hippie. I realize that it's aggravating him. I won't do that anymore.
You what? John?
Yeah, it was just in jest, but he's taking it personal, and I don't want to upset him, so I'm not going to use hippie anymore in regards to Slick. But there's a bunch of other hippies on this panel, so when I say hippie, John, don't take it personal.
Should we all hug it out, John? What's with you?
Can I get an apology for the vanilla thing the other day? Because
no apologies for that. I got loved up this morning, so I'm a little bit calmer.
Trigger warning.
That's cool. That was the other day. That was Johnny Glowhead. This is
now you've brought it up,
right?
Just out of interest, because that's kind of my diffusing to that situation is to say something funny. So I said, I think at the time, as a black woman, I find that very offensive because it kind of diffuses the situation a little bit. But I'm going to ask in all sincerity, as you're black, did that offend you?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. I actually love when you say that. It's hilarious.
No. Not what I said. The vanilla comment.
Oh, no. I'm just playing with John.
Oh, fair enough. I thought that's what I suspected. I thought you were just playing with him, but I just thought I'd just double check because we're all getting it out in the open and having a little kumbaya moment.
No, we're good.
Jolly
Me
good.
and John are good. We're good.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate forum. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you would like to join the discussion right now, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Quantum Eraser, Zinda, Slick James Johnson, Ranty Flat Earth, Physics Warrior, Paul, Joseph, Flatten Earth, Carlos and Chocolate saying, good to have you one and all.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Buenos dias.
Nice to be here, Nathan.
So in the pre-show, we were talking to Joseph, and Joseph basically disclaimed that he wasn't quite expecting to come in and actually be challenged. He thought it would just be a bit of a laugh, which is wonderful. That's good news for us.
Not a bit of a laugh. I just thought it was casual, is what I said. I thought it was just a casual conversation.
Joseph, real quick, just a question. Which Discord did you come in from?
Oh, that's classified. I'm not going to say that live. Right?
Okay.
If you want to PM me, I'll tell you. Yeah.
That's fine.
Just PM him and then tell us.
Come on, don't do that.
Nah, you're good.
No, it doesn't
But
really matter.
it's a friendly Discord. It's not. It's a flat Earth Discord though. But
Yeah, I figured. I'm just asking. So I'm pretty sure I know, but it's all right.
yeah,
The Globusters?
I'm not going to confirm or deny anything, but it's a good group of people. Like we have fun, we chit chat, whatever. I know Chemo from there.
So you're fairly. Well, you're not new to this. You're not a newbie.
Me?
Yeah. You don't strike me as a newbie.
Oh, far from it, man. No. I just didn't realize. Like I'm being honest. Like right now, I'm not joking around. I didn't realize that this was this. I just honestly thought that it was like, some flat Earth people and some globe Earth people and coming together and just having like the casual debates that go on. I didn't realize it's not about a matter of being challenged, but it's just a matter of like the seriousness that you guys take it with. That threw me off guard. So I apologize.
Where'd you witness these casual debates between flat earthers and globetards?
Well, you see, like you characterize it like that, like it doesn't add anything. But
I've been in this for 3 years, and I can't remember a single casual debate.
Well, I've sit around. You sit around with your friends, stuff like that. Like I have a few friends who believe that the Earth is flat. When we sit around, we chit chat about it. It doesn't get like this.
I'm offended by the
I'm talking
word
about this
globetard.
out here where you came into this genre right here. We're not talking about sitting at home with your friends. We're talking about.
Are you guys not friends?
That's a false equivalence, right? We're talking about out here in internet land.
But are you not friends with the people on the panel?
Yeah, but they're not my buddies, down the street. We're talking about the debate between the flat earthers and the globetards here on the internet circuit.
Well, yeah, I'm not new to that either. I've been around the flat Earth debates have been going on since 2008, right? So yeah,
2008 maybe, I don't know. I
know. I've been around. I'm around the bend, man. I'm a millennial dog. I'm the age of the internet. So
and
all that stuff.
Dog.
Okay, so
I'm sorry, my slang terminology bothered you. Well, let me talk like this for you, sir, and make sure I make you feel comfortable. I don't want to make you
sure your heels are together.
So in your past experience, it's just been casual chats with your friends about this subject, and a couple of them are flat earthers. So in that regard, is it not?
Oh, and the internet. I'm on the internet too.
Okay, fair enough. So do you understand why we take it seriously, or is that still, okay.
the reasons could vary from person to person, I think. But I think as a group, I don't even know if you guys are like one cohesive group, because there's a lot of different,
Fine, cohesive.
like all of one mind in terms of the belief, right? I think that
Definitely
there's
not.
even still a bit of disagreement.
There isn't a belief, and there isn't a group. So you got both wrong. Can you start over?
Okay. Well, the people who believe the Earth is flat, let's say that, right?
Not a
I'm not
belief.
one of those.
It's
I'm
not a
not one of
belief.
those. I know the Earth is flat,
Okay,
non-spinning dome,
okay,
and
okay,
geocentric.
yeah. Well, dude, don't quibble with what I'm. Just let me say what I'm saying, man. Okay, look. So people
Stop
who know the
talking
Earth
out
is
your
flat,
ass
right?
and
Okay,
get
I'll go
on
with
with
that. If that makes you feel better, right? So people who know the Earth is flat, right? I find that even still, they kind of don't all agree on the model and all that sort of thing. So
We don't have a model. For crying out loud, and it's not an
I'm using the word
genre
model
either.
in a scientific way, not in a.
There is no science to models. They're pseudoscience. Do we have to go through this like we did with
No,
astrophysics?
I mean like in a diorama way. Like if you had to show somebody what it looks like, you would make a model or a
No, you
diorama,
wouldn't.
right?
No, you just show them. If I have to show someone what a chair looks like, I can just produce a chair and show them. I don't go into a computer and simulate one with a model. Models are pseudoscience. We don't live on a model.
No, you can build a diorama. A diorama.
Do we live on a diorama? Do we live on a diorama?
No. But if I wanted to show you the concept of something, right, I would have to build something to scale so you could see it. But anyways, the point I'm trying to make is, why I think you guys take it so seriously. Like I said before, is it varies from person to person. But I think maybe the one thing is it's like the global lie, right? I think that's the one thing that I think anyone can converge on that. If everyone knew they're being lied to, right? I think that's the one thing that if I were to guess, I could be wrong. You can correct me, but I think it would be the whole big lie about it. Would that be a fair assessment?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're killing the globe though. That's the other thing.
He asked me why I thought you guys take it very seriously, and I think that would.
The thing is, we've been doing this debate now for a year and a half on different channels, but essentially it's the same flat Earth debate. And it used to be that it was mainly globers that came in, one or two flat earthers. If you check the panel out now, you'll see it's mainly flat earthers, and there's a reason for that. It's because every single argument that the globe has brought to the table has been demolished by the people on this panel. Every single argument.
Can I try the one that I was going to start with?
Yes,
when I
that'd be
first came
great.
in?
Go ahead.
Okay, so I imagine that a lot of you watched that documentary that came out on Netflix.
Yep.
So I want to have a discussion about the gyroscope experiment.
Not
Is
an
that
experiment.
okay? I'm sorry?
Not an experiment.
Well, the flat Earth guy did it.
Sorry.
So
repeat after me. It is not an experiment.
What is it?
You tell me.
Well, I called it an experiment. You're saying it's not. So then what is it?
Yeah, the whole entire last show was figuring out for you what an experiment was. So an experiment is a hypothesis test. It elucidates.
Yeah. Okay, so then I won't call
no. I was sighing because you interrupted me. Yeah.
No, I won't call it an
Don't
experiment.
interrupt. Just listen. Yeah.
Well,
this is why I call you ignorant. So you have said we've got a gyroscope experiment. I have interrupted and said no, it's not an experiment. Now you've asked why isn't it an experiment? And I'm trying or attempting with interruptions to tell you why it's not an experiment. I started by saying the entire last show was us trying to educate you on what an experiment is. Do you remember us explaining what you vary and manipulate to establish the cause of an effect? Do you remember that conversation?
Yeah, then it's not an experiment. The thing that the guy did in the documentary, do you guys remember that with the gyroscope?
Yes.
How could we forget?
Yes, definitely.
So, what it measured was that in an hour's time, right, the Earth at least moves at a point of 15 degrees. Right? Would that be accurate? Do you guys remember that?
You said the Earth moved.
Hold on. You tell us what you think has been demonstrated.
Well, I'm gonna get to that. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page first.
Well, okay. At this stage, then no. we are not on the same page. Let me just clarify what you have asserted. I'll expand a little, so give me a little leverage. What you are saying is the gyroscope, which rotates in a fixed frame of reference, demonstrates that the Earth rotates underneath to a tune of 15 degrees an hour. Would that be a correct summary of your assertion?
That's what the results produced, yes.
Okay. The results did not produce that.
What did the result produce?
So that's where we're at an impasse. So at this stage, that's why I asked you to clarify what you were asserting. So if you disagree, perhaps you would like to enlighten us on how you feel that demonstration showed the Earth rotating underneath the fixed frame of the gyro at 15 degrees an hour, and we'll go from there.
Oh, I wouldn't think that right away, but what I would think that it shows is that something's moving. So then we'd have to figure out what's moving. Is the sky moving? Are the stars moving? Or is the object that we're on moving?
So you just changed your position from asserting that it was the Earth moving.
I'm not. I'm just
You definitively said it was proving that the Earth moved, and now, as you quite rightly say, is that it could also be the lights in the sky that are moving, and the plane itself is very stationary and motionless.
That's possible, but that's not what the truth is, right? But
that's an assertion.
Yeah, I 100% agree that it's an assertion. I'm not.
What's the truth?
But so
that's what I was about to ask. Sorry, John. So yeah, that was what I was going to ask. So I'm happy to again give you a bit of leeway. You know, just tell us what you think the truth is.
So I believe that the thing that the guy did in the documentary was a demonstration that the Earth spins.
That's belief. You said you believe.
Yeah.
Can you prove it?
Hold on, Randy. Hold on. Just tell us. So tell us, first of all, do you understand how the demonstration shows that?
Yes.
Tell us how.
So it's measuring the movement of the stationary object, which presumably would be the Earth, right? So
no. Sorry. Stop. You've just said it's showing that the Earth is stationary. So I appreciate that might just be a slip of the tongue, but do you want to start again, not by stating that it's proving the Earth is stationary, because that's contrary to your argument. I shouldn't really be helping you out, but I know who I'm dealing with. So do you actually mean that it's demonstrating that the Earth is stationary, or do you want to start again?
Well, the Earth is in a fixed position. It's on an axis. That's the same thing.
All right, so you're proving that we are fixed, stationary, on an axis. That's what you're trying to claim, is it?
Yeah. I'll give you an example, right? I'm in a fixed position in my chair, right? But my chair has wheels and it can move around. But I can stay in a fixed position while the chair moves around. And let's say someone's pulling me by a rope.
My God.
Yes, okay. I've heard enough. I've heard enough.
Can I just say, this hole is getting very deep, and you're digging it yourself. It's going to be so funny in a minute.
It's all right. It's no problem. So, if you like, I'll explain to you the assertion from the globe side in regards to the gyroscope. If you want me to.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Okay. So, the gyroscope has a fixed frame of reference. In other words, it spins and it is unaffected by moving it. So if you see a deviation in the gyroscope, it would be a demonstration, according to your side, that the Earth rotates under the fixed frame of the gyroscope. If you don't understand, I'm happy to expand on that.
No, I do get it. I just misspoke on what I was trying to say, because I'm just rushing through this, right? I'm just trying to establish the certain points of the thing that the guy did. I know we're not using the word experiment.
No problem. But, so it's a demonstration of something known as the Coriolis effect.
Right.
The frame of reference that the gyroscope is in stays static or stays in one fixed frame. And then the demonstration that something is moving at 15 degrees an hour is the assertion that the Earth rotates under the fixed frame of the gyro. So we all on the same page about how it proves the Earth spins according to who is asserting it.
Well, I would say that the equipment would be the ultimate arbiter of that because it's doing the measurement. We just interpret the data.
Yeah, what's it measuring? So I don't mind explaining it a third time because it seems like you don't understand what precisely it's measuring.
Presumably the Earth's spin.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
And do you know how? It's
I don't know the nitty gritty details on it.
No worries.
I'm not a scientist.
No worries. So if you have a bicycle wheel and you spin the bicycle wheel on the end of your finger, it will spin and stay horizontal. And then if you tip your finger, around, so you move your finger around in a circle, the gyroscopic motion of the wheel will not deviate even though you rotate underneath that spinning wheel. Now, if you were to be a cage, in other words, you were holding onto the gyro and you were, like the Earth is claimed to, spin, then the gyroscope stays in its fixed frame and the Earth rotates underneath the frame of the spinning gyroscope. Does that now make sense?
No, it does make sense because the gyroscope primarily also has to establish orientation.
Yeah,
right.
The
Orientation is important when you're trying to figure out where something is in terms of placement, right?
Yeah, so the gyro stays in a fixed reference, and the 15 degrees that they measure is claimed to be the rotation of the Earth under the fixed frame of the gyroscope. Is that clear?
Well, yeah. That's the
okay. So the problem being, if the Earth rotates under the fixed frame of the gyroscope, then it also rotates underneath helicopters, balls that you throw through the air, aeroplanes, and anything else that is in the same frame of reference as the gyroscope. So if the Earth rotates under the gyro, it must also rotate underneath aeroplanes. The problem being that it doesn't.
I'm trying to understand what the problem is.
Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh man. Hey bro, what's my Yeah. Man.
Right,
What the heck is going on?
Yeah, what's going
Go
on?
on mute.
The only person not on mute is the guy we're supposed to be having a conversation with.
I'm sorry?
He's just wasting our time.
Yeah, it seems that way.
No, I heard there's people talking and stuff. I heard a bunch of people just talking.
That was Zender. That was Zender doing that.
Sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know what happened, so I just went quiet.
Yeah, we'll get back on track. So, if it's asserted that the gyroscopic motion in its fixed frame displays a 15-degree deviation because the Earth rotates underneath, then the Earth rotates underneath and would also rotate underneath anything in that second reference frame, i.e. the frame that the gyroscope is in and showing a fixed frame of reference. Well, that would mean that we do definitely have, as demonstrated by the gyro, a Coriolis effect. And if it rotates underneath the gyro, it also rotates the Earth, that is, underneath an aeroplane. But we don't observe that ever happening. We don't have vastly shortened airtime with the Earth rotating underneath, bringing the continent you are travelling to towards you at a rapid pace as you travel through the air. That never happens. We don't have a Coriolis effect.
I'm not sure. So you're saying what? So you're saying that because I'm not understanding the objection, seriously.
No problem. The way the gyroscope demonstrates that the Earth rotates is by it rotating underneath the fixed frame of the gyro. And if it rotates underneath the fixed frame of the gyro, then the Earth also rotates underneath aeroplanes.
No.
Yeah.
No, because the gyro is using lasers.
No.
Yeah. And?
So the lasers are what are doing the measuring, not the object.
Yeah, the
object
lasers.
is the
Sorry,
laser.
I'll try and explain to you. The lasers, as you put it, give you the fixed frame of reference to demonstrate the 15-degree deviation, which is claimed to be the Earth rotating underneath.
Yes.
Yeah, well, if the Earth rotates underneath the gyroscope, then the Earth rotates underneath the aeroplanes.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, no.
That's not how that works.
Yeah, that's called the Coriolis effect.
But airplanes aren't affected by the Coriolis.
No
effect.
shit.
Okay, so what are you trying to say? But people on ground level are. For
So
some
if
reason,
you can
right?
show a deviation of the Earth rotating underneath the gyro, then it must also rotate underneath the planes. But it doesn't. So if you're to assert that we're seeing a Coriolis effect demonstrated in the gyroscope, that being the Earth rotating underneath, then it must rotate underneath an aeroplane, but doesn't, as you so rightly point out. Okay?
Regardless of what you're saying, right? Even though I'm going to tackle that, the first point I'm going to make is that regardless of what you're saying, the Earth is rotating, right? So,
No.
Sorry, I just want to
as
point
the
out
Earth-
either to you or if you keep talking, it'll just be the audience. That's known as a fundamentalist assertion. So,
gonna
Fundy,
explain.
have you got anything other than a gyroscope demonstrating that the Earth rotates underneath planes? Oh my bad, it doesn't. Or do you just have your fundamentalist belief in this?
Well, there are several ways to show the Earth rotating, but just to finish this one, right? So the Earth is a whole, right? It's got an atmosphere, stratosphere, all of that stuff. It operates as one mechanism, right? So when you're on the Earth and you're traveling through the Earth and you're traveling through the air and you're doing all that sort of thing, 15 degrees per hour is almost unnoticeable. It obviously is because we've been sitting here for a couple of hours and no one's noticed that the Earth is spun.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Right? But as I'm traveling through, like riding my bike or flying an airplane or something like that, I'm not playing a tug of war game with the speed of rotation because I'm traveling within that space.
Oh, I
so
see.
you're
Sorry,
saying-
my
hold
bad.
on,
Sorry.
You're saying that the atmosphere
Hold
and
on,
the
John.
Earth
Sorry.
are one system?
Sorry, I see what you're saying. What you're saying is because the atmosphere travels with the Earth, we don't see that effect.
No, that's an oversimplification, right? So an example would be you're in an airplane. An airplane's going 300 miles per hour, but you can walk up and down throughout the airplane and virtually not feel that speed because you're a part of the vessel that's moving. You're not on the
Yeah, you're
outside
in a
of it.
closed system, but your
We're
Earth is
not
an
talking
open
about
system.
speed. We're talking about
That
rotation.
has nothing to do with an open or closed system, right? That just has to do with momentum and speed. and
No,
all
it's
that.
you're in a closed system or nearly a closed system in the
Sorry.
airplane.
Sorry, just
Planes,
bear with me. I
trains,
just
and
need to get
automobiles.
clarity. Sorry, John. So are you saying that we don't see the Earth rotating underneath aeroplanes?
Not underneath airplanes. The Earth is rotating and we rotate with it.
Oh, well, that would be a defiance of the demonstration of Coriolis that is alleged to be established by the gyroscope. Oh dear, it would seem that the gyroscope doesn't demonstrate Earth rotating underneath, because according to you, the Earth doesn't rotate underneath. The atmosphere and the Earth rotate as one, which would mean there is no Coriolis effect, precisely what is alleged to be demonstrated by the gyro. Do you now see the problem and contradiction, Joseph?
That's not what that says, because I don't know why you keep saying underneath. It's just the gyroscope is just the tool that's used. It's not that it's rotating underneath the gyroscope. It's
so what's the 15 degrees then?
So then what is
So
it
what's the
measuring,
15
though?
degrees that it's showing then, Joseph? What's that 15 degrees exactly?
It's the amount of degrees that the Earth has moved within an hour.
Underneath the frame of the gyro? Yes, Joseph, that's right. It's alleged to show the Earth rotate underneath. Unfortunately, Joseph, we don't see that happening in the aeroplanes, so it can't possibly be showing the Earth rotate underneath if you're to assert that we don't have a Coriolis effect because the Earth and atmosphere are as one reference frame. Well, the gyro is a demonstration of two reference frames. I'll say it again. One reference frame with the gyroscope spinning in its own plane and the Earth rotating underneath at 15 degrees an hour.
Beautiful performance. Absolutely beautiful. Bye-bye, Joseph, and bye-bye, ball card spinning space monkey religion. Thank you very much.
I'm a Taoist, bro. I'm not a part of no ball monkey space religion. What kind of racist shit are you talking about, man?
Oh, really?
Why is he gotta be raised?
You said monkey.
Every time.
You said monkey.
Well, yeah.
So what?
Couple of questions. So
enough with the race card, man.
Calm down. I'm just joking.
Get over it.
Take it easy.
What do you think the sky is?
No.
What do you think the sky is, Joseph? What do you assume the sky to be?
I'm sorry?
What do you think the sky is?
What do I think it is? The sky.
It's racist.
Like, what do I think it's made of? Is
No.
what you're asking me? Or?
I'm saying that, do you believe the sky is a vacuum?
Oh, that doesn't sound right.
No, it doesn't, does it? I like that
It
phraseology a lot.
It doesn't.
How do you have a gas
Awesome
pressure
answer.
without a container, son?
I'm sorry?
Do you
How do
think
you
we've
have
got
a
a
gas pressure?
vacuum in the sky that little men in suits travel to, otherwise known as outer space? A vacuum. Do you think the sky is a vacuum?
Sorry. I misunderstood you.
Yeah, well, let me repeat it. Do you think the sky is a vacuum?
Well, if you're asking me if I believe in outer space, I would have to answer yes.
So you think the sky is a vacuum? Why do we have gas here then? How come I'm still breathing? Why isn't the gas that's going in and out of my lungs not dispersing into the infinite, never-ending and expanding vacuum? Why can I breathe if the sky is a vacuum? The gas would go into that vacuum, and it's not. So that's nonsense. Another fundy belief. That's why we've called you a religitard with a space monkey religion. Because to assume that the sky is a vacuum is absolutely ludicrous. We'd all be dead. The vacuum would take away the air we're breathing, Joseph. What kind of idiocy is this?
Yeah, I've heard this one come up. It's relatively new for me. I don't know enough information on it to address it.
Oh, right. I'll
What
just
if there
tell
was
you.
an external force keeping the air down?
I'll just tell you then. The sky isn't a vacuum, Joseph.
Well, you're not going to convince me like this, right? It's not. That's not how it's going to work.
I don't care.
Well, instead of laughing, why don't you listen? Why don't you listen to the point so maybe you can try to understand it?
Because I don't know enough about the gas.
So then that's what I'm telling you. Why don't you listen to the point where he's?
I want to research myself.
Instead, you just want to laugh.
Then
What are you going to research?
go research and come back.
What are you going to
Whoever's talking-
research? What are you going to research exactly?
Right. The way I like to operate personally is I look into something first myself before I go and take influences from other people. Right. And then I'll come.
So why didn't you look into it before you showed up here then?
Because I didn't think it would be brought up here. Right. It's a relatively new.
This is a flat Earth debate. That's the one thing that kills your spinning ball religion.
It's
You
kind of
understand that?
It's kind of a new argument being brought up in the flat Earth. So I haven't.
Ew. I've been
Well,
saying this for 3 years.
The gas containment within the atmosphere. That's kind of new.
That's not new. I've been
Well, for
saying
me,
it for 3 years now.
Maybe I've been out of the loop for a few years, but
Yep. You've been out of the loop.
Yep.
Shout out to Awaken Truth and Life is Short for hitting the super chat. Really appreciate your support. Thank you very much indeed.
That's right. I don't know enough about it. I can't comment, right? But if you want to try to tell me some stuff, but I'm all ears. Yeah.
Excellent. We're all back on track then. The sky is not a vacuum. It can't possibly be a vacuum because the gas would fill the space.
That's the argument.
Well, that's the argument. Well, then that's I have to go from there, right? So the gas can't. So if the sky was a vacuum, right? So within that statement, we're assuming that there's no atmosphere to the Earth. There's no topping to it. It would just be an open space into space. So I would have to go and look into that, and then look into how gas is contained within atmospheres, and look into that, right? So so that's all I can go on, really.
Oh, no,
I guarantee you, when you go away and look at this, you're going to come back with a specific word to prove your belief, but it's not going to work.
A specific word?
I know what it is.
I don't know.
I know what it is. Can I say it?
No, I want chocolate to say it. Chocolate.
Gravity.
Okay. Good, vanilla.
Damn it, physics.
Go on, chocolate.
Gravity. The magic bad word in the flat Earth community.
It'd be a cool word if you could prove it.
Hey, I think that gravity is a weird one myself, because there's no real. It's just like this thing that happens and we don't know why, and it's weird.
No,
I can't
you don't
explain
know
that.
why. We know why.
Yeah,
Relative density.
I don't know.
Yeah, we
If
know
outer
you
space-
don't know.
Like, if outer space isn't real, then I can like that, But
Yeah, why are you still talking? Yeah, you don't know. I just said the two words that explain it. Relative density. That explains what you have a fundamentalist belief in. We also know how you have this fundamentalist belief. We discussed it only yesterday with Zinda.
yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah, you guys were getting my hopes up. I thought as soon as he said gravity, then this guy would say, well, there is scientific evidence of gravity. And I had the party hats out and everything, and now you ruined it.
Well, no, because I'm not a dishonest person, right? If I don't know something, I'm going to say I don't know.
Oh, do you know what the scientific method is?
Come on, man. I read the definition like 1,000 times.
So tell me what it is.
I'm pretty sure I can recite it now by memory.
Go on then.
No, that was a joke.
Yeah, I know. What you told us about the scientific method was a joke. Absolutely correct.
No, but I mean, what I just said was, never mind.
Yeah, what you said was, I wouldn't be declaring things unless I knew what they were and researched them. I listened. But we had a demonstration on the last show of the complete converse of that, which is you making declarations about something you had absolutely no idea about, which would be the scientific method.
Well, I've read the definition several times. I think if it's true that I didn't understand it before, I at least understand it now because I've read the definition like 1,000 times.
Excellent, because that's all it takes is to read the definition. So explain the process.
No
worries. You've just told us that you've read the definition a few times and now you understand what the scientific method is. So tell us what the scientific method is. With your understanding, your new acquired understanding, having read the definition today.
Well, I've always understood it. I was saying if it's true in a hypothetical world, right?
That's great. That's just what I need to hear. Now tell us what it is.
It's a method that we use to discover the natural world.
What is the method? What is it?
Like, do you want to know like what we use in the method to do that?
Yeah, what is the method? The scientific method.
It typically starts with a hypothesis.
No, it doesn't. That's wrong. Do you want to try again?
It typically starts with a hypothesis.
No.
If you're testing the natural world, right, you're dealing in empirical claims. So empiricism would be the
if it was already an empirical claim, then you wouldn't need to do anything. No, you don't start with hypothesis. So we're already well into us establishing that you will declare things you haven't got the vaguest clue about. You've also just declared that having read the definition of the scientific method a few times, you understand it. And then your first gambit is to tell us you start by formulating a prediction. Well, what's your prediction for exactly?
Well, it would have to be based on an observation. I never said prediction.
So hypothesis doesn't come first then? Observation of what?
Observation is a given.
Yeah,
Because
observation of what?
Of anything.
No, that's not step one in the scientific method. Wrong again. Seems you don't understand it, having just read the definition off Wiki a few times. So you don't understand this. Why would you declare that you understand it, having read it a couple of times, when clearly you haven't got the vaguest idea what you're talking about?
I think you're harping on the wrong point here, right?
No, the point is you haven't got a clue what you're talking about. Not the slightest idea. Typical millennial who thinks he knows everything. But when exposed as the pretender muppet he is, he starts talking non-stop, telling us that he's understood because he's read it off Wiki. How outrageous. Typical millennial bonehead.
You didn't know I was a millennial until
you told us you were a millennial. You told us. Excuse me, you stupid retard. You told us that you were a millennial. Unlike you, I have the ability to actually listen to what's being said. So I know you're a millennial, unless you're a liar and you're now going to claim that you're not a millennial. You've told us that.
No, what I'm saying is that now you're using it as an attack, as if that's the explanation for why this guy is this way. You didn't know I was a millennial until I told you I was a millennial. So I think to add that to the insult.
You still think they're all the same.
Yeah, you're right. I shouldn't tarnish all millennials with the stupidity level of you as an individual, Joseph. You're right. I take that back. It's not an aspersion on all of millennials. Only you complete and utter fool. Just you. You are stupid. Not millennials. Just you.
Me alone, man.
Yeah, you. Singular. You, a retard. As demonstrated in the last hour and a half of nonsense that you've spewed, and the last 5 minutes where I've demonstrated that you haven't got the vaguest clue what the scientific method is. Thank you.
So we start with an observation, and then we come up with a hypothesis.
No, we don't.
Which is an educated guess.
Deaf?
And then
we do not.
And then we go from there with experimentation and
no.
Sort of, and then as we experiment,
why aren't you stopping? Why are you still blathering with the incorrect information? Is this the behaviour of a retard? I've said no. Stop. You are incorrect.
What is your justification for stopping me?
Yeah, because you're wrong.
Well, that's not a justification. You have to let me finish and then tell me where I'm wrong, right?
Yeah,
let me
I'm
finish
stopping
first.
you because I don't want to poison the ears of my audience with your nonsense any further.
That's Orwellian.
So stop talking.
Listen, if you're wrong, we only have an hour show. We can't listen to you being wrong for 5 minutes. Nathan has to stop you to tell you where you're going wrong.
This is very Orwellian, just saying.
No, just you being wrong and not being willing to shut your mouth so I can point out how wrong you are. You do not start by making an observation. Yeah? You don't look at a tree and then do science. What are you formulating the science for? What's the prediction for if you're looking at something that's just doing nothing? Yeah?
Well, you figure that out.
So I haven't finished. So you don't start with observation. You're just wrong.
Oh. Well, you can't help but observe things. You have eyes, so you do that first regardless, whether you like it or not.
What, for the scientific method? No. No.
That's the question.
You're wrong. And why is it that you're doubling down on this? Why is it that you're doubling down?
Because I'm right. 100%. Unless you're a blind person and you can't see and you have to figure out another way to observe things.
What are you observing? Sorry, you're going to fool me.
I've been really patient on the side here, but if you guys would have listened to me about an hour ago, I told you the conversation was over, but you want to keep on continuing it. It's been over, but now you're just rehashing the same thing over, going in circles. It's done.
I agree, Slick, but Nathan's policy is not to kick. So unless he's
I didn't say kick. Listen, I didn't say kick. I said the
so.
conversation was over an hour ago. He didn't have to kick him, but you have to start a new conversation. You got a whole panel of people. They probably got other opinions, other ideas, but you're just spinning your wheels round and round on a point that ain't going nowhere. Why do that?
You did say somebody kicked this guy an hour ago.
I know what I said an hour ago, but I'm not talking about that now. Okay, so he decided not to kick him, so you still got to start another conversation, even if he stays on the panel. You don't just keep the same conversation going over and over again. That's just redundant.
Well, he's never going to concede, is he? So the problem is with that Slick is in 5 minutes' time when we start on a new conversation, he'll start asserting what he thinks science is and saying that we can make an observation.
Why start another conversation with him? There's other people on the panel that can talk.
This is the only Glober.
No, let me give an input. First of all, I discovered scientifically that when you leave the forest, you get a better internet connection. Form that in an hypothesis, please, everyone. Perfect.
Sorry.
I got an internet connection now, and now I'm available.
So your internet connection is natural phenomena?
No, it's not.
Yes.
Right.
No, okay. Let's I just heard my name like 15 minutes ago, like just like in a robot voice because I had a bad internet connection. So I wanted to mention that even though I think for me the show is a little bit satirical, I can learn a lot from it, right? For example, I learned that we live in a container, right? And now with that knowledge, I see the world around me completely different. Let me show you something, guys. All right.
Hold on, just say a quick hello. Yeah. Hold on, just 1 second, Cinder. Hey Tim, how you doing?
Morning, Allah Akbar to you.
Right.
Hello. Go ahead. What are you showing us? Let's have a look.
Here we have a tree, right? Maybe you will ask me, Cinder, why are you showing us a tree? And I say, no, guys, that's not a normal tree. That's a tree in a container. All right. So think about it. Like all the world around you is in a container. I mean, figure out what does it mean for us? What does it mean for humanity? Right. I mean, it is astonishing, don't you think so too, guys? I mean, you guys have figured it out. And now what are you going to do with that knowledge? It's a question. Right now, you are doing a great job. You are presenting to everyone that we live in a container, but we can get advantages from it, right? We can make the world a better place with that knowledge. Don't you
Wouldn't
agree?
the pressure equalize those Ender in a container, according to them? Just wondering.
Where'd you get gas pressure?
No, because you know we have a pressure
Where'd you get
gradient,
gas
right?
pressure before you got a gas pressure gradient? So gas pressure.
Is that a semantical argument?
What comes first? Gas pressure
one at a
or
time.
gas pressure gradients?
Let me answer him. We have a pressure gradient. We live in a container. Therefore, we have a pressure gradient, right? So that's so simple. And everyone like, you don't need a container, but dude, let me say that. If you think of the world, if you think about the world that we live in a container, your whole life will change. Right?
Yeah, we already
Everything
heard
is
you
a
the first
container.
time. We don't need to hear it again. Thank you.
Okay. And another thing. Like, you know, you could say the Earth contains us humans, and I think the elite.
The Earth isn't a container.
No, let me finish. The elite, right? The elite, they knew that all along, so they presented the world containing that we are contained by the Earth. So that those
Earth isn't a container. You don't define a container.
Okay.
So what is the argument all about? Why do you guys say that gas pressure needs a container? Why would you say that?
Because it does.
Why would you say that? Is that purely from a definitional standpoint, or is that from like an observation or an experiment?
It's
what
like
is that
from the second law of thermodynamics, Timmy.
Okay, so I guess again, so we live in a contained atmosphere. How come it isn't equal? Why is there a pressure gradient?
So you've already reckoned with that there must be a container to have gas pressure. Is that what you're saying?
No, I don't go off that silly thing because that's just a definitional.
The silly thing? How's it silly?
Argument.
How's it silly?
Because according to entropy, we would expect
to entropy,
not a pressure gradient.
Hold on,
Wouldn't we?
Hold on, Tim and John. Right, just let each other get to the end of each statement, please.
Go ahead, Timmy.
Yeah. So again, I'm asking actually the question: who says that pressure needs a containment or a container?
Who says it?
Yeah, I mean, I know you guys do, but like, by what authority do you go around and say that there needs to be a pressure?
Can I buy gas
or needs
pressure
to
for
be
my
a container?
Can I buy gas pressure for my car so I can turn the wheels on it without a container, or do I need a container to put the gas in?
That's a really, really silly place to go. Maybe John can answer
Silly,
since he's
silly.
the
Why don't you
resident
give him
professional
a
here.
reasoned argument instead of your just one word dismissals, right?
No,
How do you have a gas
the
pressure
actual
without a
question,
container?
John, I'll state it again. The actual question was, by what authority? Who is saying that there needs to be a container here? So I'll go ahead and ask you, John. By what authority do you go around and say this?
By second grade authority, that to have a gas pressure like
Okay,
a
well, I
tire
got fourth
pressure,
grade
you
authority
need
here.
the
Hold on, hold on.
frigging
He's
tire.
answering it. Hold on. Just let him answer, Tim.
Yeah. See, by second grade coherent authority, that to have a tire pressure that is a gas pressure, you actually have to have the tire. Right? That's
Okay,
my
so
authority.
that is a consistent 40 psi or 50 psi, whatever you put into your tire, right?
We're talking about
so what
gas
we
pressure.
live
Hold on,
in
John.
is
John.
actually-
John. Sorry, Tim.
What
Can
we
you start
live
again?
in is a pressure gradient, John. So the question again is, where are you getting this information that we must have containment for gas pressure? Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. And like I said before, you invoked gas pressure gradients.
So you're not going to answer the
when
question.
the argument. Hold on, Timmy. You invoke gas pressure
Answer the
gradients
question, John.
when you forgot.
Tim, come on. Just back and forth. Come on.
Why
Clown
wouldn't he
show
answer the
Timmy.
question, Nathan?
You
He's trying to.
invoked-
He's
Oh,
trying to.
God.
All right, let me pause.
Are you done?
Yeah, so he's popped himself on mute. Go ahead, John.
Timmy invoked gas pressure gradients, trying to think he was clever to wheel around the actual argument. Which comes first, Timmy? Gas pressure or gas pressure gradients?
Sorry, I've got to pull you on that, John. That's not the question he's asked. He's asking, where do you get the authority that the necessary antecedent to have gas pressure is a container? That's the question he's asking.
Yes, but I already answered that, and then he went into gas pressure gradients.
Okay, I know.
Yeah,
Can
he
you
did
repeat the
change it,
answer?
Nathan.
Can you just repeat it, and then we'll move back over to Tim?
Yes. My authority is second grade coherence, that to have a gas pressure, like a tire pressure, you actually have to have the physical tire first.
Okay,
That good?
so again, you're equating gas pressure to the atmospheric pressure, and then you say a tire which has a consistent 40 psi, 30 psi, 100 psi if it's a road bike tire, say. So now we're in a gas pressure gradient. So for some reason you are equating the two, and again, this is a semantical argument with a literal definition.
No, let's not give.
Hold on, John.
So this is where John fails to actually answer a very simple question he should already have
What's
in
the
his
simple question? I
Rolodex of
already
stupid
answered it.
shit to say to people.
I already answered it.
Hold on, John. So, Tim, he's pointing out that there are examples, a multitude thereof, of gas pressure with a container. So that's a fairly easy thing to demonstrate. So is it feasible that you could demonstrate the converse, i.e. gas pressure, without a container, beyond a fundamentalist belief about what Earth does?
Yes. Actually, you can walk outside. Like I could go to a mountain right now, and then there would actually be a different pressure gradient, say at the top of the mountain compared to where
That's
I'm
not
right
his
now.
question.
So when you guys bring up a tire, this is again we're
Well,
talking
That's not his
about things
question.
that have
Pressure
consistent
gradients.
air pressure, things that have
That's not,
consistent
that
air
wasn't his
pressure
question, son.
So
that are
everyone's rumpusing
okay,
him.
go ahead.
Sorry,
Guys, 'cause
everyone's
I wasn't
rumpusing
talking.
Tim.
Go ahead.
Don't rumpus Tim. Just get to the end.
Changed. Pressure gradient.
Hold on. Just let Tim get to the end.
Well, the question was, is this a semantical argument to begin with? And I've already demonstrated that this is just John, again, going off of definitions that he's picked up from somewhere. So he says,
All right, let's go. Let's stop this. You're not answering his
the
question.
thing that's
You're
pushing
not
against the walls of its
answering
container,
Nathan's question.
Even though
Please
many
show a
definitions
gas
say the
pressure
surface
without a container.
or the
That's the
container.
question.
Okay, so the surface.
Not your
see, this guy
friggin'
can't.
thoughts and what you
This guy
conjure about
can't
other
hear
people.
this guy.
Answer
He
the
can't talk to
question.
me. He can't talk to me.
Answer
so
the
that's
question.
obvious.
Yeah, because you're a clown.
That's actually why Slick James shut his pie hole too when I hopped on too.
Yeah,
like he did the
we
other
don't want to
night.
hear your stories, Timmy. Answer the question. Can you show us a gas pressure without a container?
Yes, you walk outside.
Now that's a
That's your-
fundamentalist. Hold on, John. That's your I said beyond your fundamentalist belief about what Earth does. The problem with that fundamentalist assertion is going out and experiencing gas pressure can only tell you we have something containing it, because without the container there can be no pressure. So it's not a demonstration.
So you say that.
Sorry,
what
Tim, I was nearly
authority
there.
and where are you
I was
getting
nearly
that
there,
from?
Tim.
Where are you getting
So
that
just
from?
going outside doesn't demonstrate gas pressure without a container. And you've admitted that when you say I go out and go to the top of Everest and it shows a difference in pressure.
I didn't even say Everest, but
Whatever.
the thing is this is just a definitional argument, and you guys are going to
not-
die on this
answer
hill
the
for
question.
some reason. I
Hold
really
on,
don't know
hold on,
why,
hold on.
Nathan. You need to stop with this gas pressure thing because it is just a
Oh,
semantical
we're not going to
argument,
stop
like
because
all
you're a
of your
clown.
arguments.
Answer the question. Answer
So
the
you still
question,
haven't answered my
Timmy.
question, John. By what authority do
We
you go
already
around and
asked
say
you
that
a
there needs to
question.
be
Show
a
us a
container,
gas
John?
pressure without a container, Timmy clown.
Yeah, walk outside. So anyway,
That's your argument.
That's your
That's
fundamentalist
a circle
belief.
jerk argument.
Spherical Earth that we live on, guys.
Yeah,
there is
that's
no
a funny
dome.
belief,
Jerking
Tim.
us.
Well, I have a question.
Wait
I have a
Wait
question.
a second.
I have a serious
he's
question.
jerking us. His premise
Yeah, tell
is
John to shut
that
his
the
pie hole
atmosphere
for a
is not
minute.
contained.
May I
Shut
ask
up.
a question? May I ask
Shut
a question?
up. You're not answering the question. What you're doing is circle jerking us. You're
embarrassing
saying
yourself,
your
Timmy.
premise is, your claim is, Timmy clown, that the atmosphere does not need to be contained. And your proof that the atmosphere does not need to be contained is you walk outside. You are a
Gas pressure is
circle
contained,
jerking
actually.
nutcase.
The atmospheric pressure is contained by gravity, which you deny as well. So
Gravity.
this is just
You have
a
scientific
confliction
evidence
of
of
terms
gravity?
here, John. You have a fundy Christian belief,
We
and I
have
don't.
you have a
So
fundy
I go by
belief.
more
You're
scientific belief.
fundy materialist, Timmy. You can't even explain the word
Materialist? Who said
God
that?
in your
I have a
fairy
question.
tale worldview
Sorry.
in word or thought. So
Blah,
you're the
blah, blah.
fundy.
Fundy,
So you
fundy
said
nonsense.
gravity,
Go
right?
ahead.
You
The
said
other person.
gravity.
Okay,
Nathan,
no worries,
I have-
no
I
worries.
have a
Hold on, hold on. Let's
Share
just
my
take some
screen.
charge. Bear with me, everyone. Bear with me. No problem. So, Tim, you're saying that gravity can give you the answer, and therefore, presumably, you can demonstrate gas pressure without a container by way of gravity. Beyond your fundamentalist belief that you're trying to prove about the sky vacuum.
Was that a question or a statement?
Yes. Can you demonstrate gas pressure without a container by way of gravity?
I've already. Well, yeah. You walk outside, actually.
Yeah, I said beyond your fundamentalist belief about what Earth does.
Okay, so you guys have a fundamentalist belief about definitions, about gas pressure, and therefore there's some kind of a dome because God made us and all this bullshit.
No.
So anyway, the
No.
thing is here, guys,
No.
is that
No, that's
you guys
just
are
wrong.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, that's just wrong. I've not made that assertion. You're saying the sky's a vacuum. And John and me would assert that
didn't
that's
say that
a
either.
second law. Right, so you don't think you don't think there's a vacuum.
I haven't said that, so let's just not strawman me here. But I will say
So-
that as
so-
you go higher, say
okay.
50,000, 80,000 feet, a lot of the atmosphere is gone, and then you continue to go higher. Well, hey, if there's going to be less and less pressure, guys. So yeah.
Now, where'd you
that-
get
it
gas
does
pressure
happen.
without a container?
Yeah, where did you get the gas pressure
Where
in
did
the
you
first
get that I
instance?
need to have a container for
Yes.
gas pressure? Was the original
Already
question when I
Yes,
came
it's
on.
the necessary antecedent. Without the
Who says
container,
that?
there can
Who
be
says
no
that?
pressure.
Who's saying
Who
that?
says
I
that?
understand that you.
Oh,
say
who
that,
said
but who's
that?
saying
Oh,
that?
conspiracy cats. He's a teacher.
Okay,
He said
I
that.
don't care about
I'll quote
conspiracy
him.
cats.
Without the container, there can be no pressure. Conspiracy cats, 2019.
Hey.
He's actually on your side.
Okay, so tell me why you say that that's a necessary antecedent. Why do you say that? What proof do you have of that?
Every single gas pressure demonstration ever will require a container. Now, unless you can demonstrate
Okay,
the
so
contrary,
you're
I hadn't
actually
finished quite,
begging
Tim.
the
You asked
question
me
there.
you asked me, and now I'm telling you.
begging the
Every
question now.
single demonstration ever of gas pressure will have the necessary antecedent of a container. Always,
You're
without
begging the question
exception.
there, though.
Now, the
You're begging
only
the question.
assertion that it doesn't occur is when a fundamentalist declares that the sky is a vacuum, therefore we don't need a container because Earth's an open system.
Okay, so you're begging the question there. So again, by what
No, he's not begging the question.
authority? What authority are you to say that gas pressure requires the necessary antecedent?
Okay,
what
All right,
authority?
I
What
got
are
the
you guys- what are
authority.
you guys
I got
saying
the
now?
authority. I got it. Kinetic molecular theory explanation of Boyle's gas law. Observations about pressure may be explained using the following ideas. The rapid motion and collisions of molecules with the walls of the container causes pressure. That's our authority. Go.
Great. So what does that source say about the shape of the Earth, or anything else that you say about creationism
Red herring
or anything?
fallacy. You're
So
just
you're
dodging
actually
the actual
cherry
question
picking.
that you asked.
Again,
I already gave you. There's our authority. What
There you go.
causes
May
pressure?
explain?
The rapid motion and collision of molecules with the walls of the container causes pressure. We're not
Does it
looking
say
for what
maybe?
they believe, what their favorite color is. You asked for the authority. I just gave it to you.
Have I heard may be explained? May be explained?
Boyle's law. There you go.
Yeah, but does it say may be explained?
Sorry.
Or does it say is only explained?
Every
Just clarify.
demonstration ever will have the necessary antecedent of a container. Now, if
John.
you are to assert that there is a defiance of that in a region no one goes to, the space you claim there is, in the open system you claim there is, in spite of that being a violation of the second law of thermodynamics, then you must first demonstrate how you, the one with a fundy belief in a sky vacuum, can have gas pressure without a container, because I can demonstrate it with really easily.
That's all right. That's all right. We live in a container, but John, does it say may be explained, or does it say is only
Yes,
explained?
that's right. And he did. The rapid motion and collisions of molecules with the walls of the container causes pressure. That's established.
Yeah. That's all right,
Also,
but
PV
can you
equal
go to the first
nRT.
part?
You
Go to
can't
the first
have
part.
volume in the
Okay, go to the first
equation
part.
without a
Go ahead and
container.
Go to the first part.
part again, please.
Read the
Go ahead
first
and read
part.
the first part. Yeah.
Oh my God. We got
No, go
shit-ass
ahead.
lawyers on the panel.
No,
Right?
go ahead. Since you're cherry picking here, go ahead and read the full
Cherry
thing.
picking.
Go ahead.
What's cherry picking?
Go ahead.
Go read
Read
where
the full
they
thing.
may-
Don't change the subject. Read the
No,
full
you
thing.
you
for us.
charged me with cherry picking. What is cherry
Read
picking,
the
Timmy
full
Clown?
thing for us, Johnny boy.
You
Let's
charged me with cherry picking,
go.
Clown
Let's go,
Joe.
Johnny
What's
boy.
cherry picking?
Johnny,
I
What's
have a
cherry-
whole video
You're a
of you
bank
cherry
robber.
picking, actually.
He's a bank robber.
Tell us, please.
You're a bank
Tell us the
robber,
first part.
Timmy.
Please, Johnny.
Why am I answering? I don't have to speak to a bank robber.
Why does Ranty keep
Johnny?
saying this? Ranty, just come on voice, or who is this Slick that keeps saying this? You're embarrassing yourself. Are you kidding me? On a flat
Yeah,
out
you
channel
are.
that
You're a
continues
clown.
to say this stupid shit every single day, I'm embarrassing myself.
Yeah,
So
you are.
anyway,
You do.
John,
You have been
go
for 3
ahead
years.
and read that whole thing there, buddy.
Yeah, I
You
did,
Please tell us the
buddy.
first part. Please. I
I
want to
did
hear it
the
again.
first
Please.
part.
Yeah, what was that again,
Want to hear it
John?
again?
What was that again? How
Yeah,
do
read
you
the first
have
part, John.
gas pressure without a container, Timmy?
John,
You
read the
need to
first
show
part.
us gas pressure without a container, son.
The whole thing, John. Please, I want to hear it. Please, I would even, I would go to you and I would throw
This is how
a
intellectually dishonest John is, by the way, guys.
ball of gold at you in order for you to read it again. Please, read the first part.
Gas pressure without a container.
So, John, can you read the
Hey,
first
Timmy, let me
section
tell you.
of the citation that you just brought up for Boyle's law? Can you just read it again,
Yeah.
and then I'll round out
You
the
want
live
me to
show?
read it? You want me to read it again?
Yeah, then I'll round out the live show.
Okay. Kinetic molecular theory explanation of Boyle's gas law. Observations about pressure may be explained using the following ideas. The rapid motion and collisions of molecules with the walls of the container causes pressure, force on a unit area. Pressure is proportional to the number of molecular collisions and the force of the collisions in a particular area. The more collisions of gas molecules with the walls, the higher the pressure.
And with that, I'll say if you're watching this on the Nathan Oakley 1980 premiering stream, then stay tuned as there will be an extended after show to follow. However, if you're watching this live on the Nathan Oakley channel, unfortunately, this is where we bid you farewell. If you need something to keep you occupied after the live stream is over, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. Massive thanks to all who hit the super chat. Be sure to like, comment, share and subscribe. I've been Nathan Oakley and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
You don't have any motion or anything like that. We already talked about this, clown.
Whatever I talk about, but whatever I talk about, you're afraid to listen because you're scared.
What are you going to talk us about your opinions again?
You're
how you
scared,
feel like there's
Tim.
no motion, how you
Timmy.
feel like there's no curve, even though you see the sun not changing angular size and then rise and set. You're a moron, dude.
Okay,
You're
that's
not
fine. But
impressive at all. You have zero evidence for your claims. Zero. Count it. 1, 0. Zero.
But you're scared.
Nothing.
Why are you so?
But
If
you're
I
the
don't
one
have
making
any
the
evidence,
claim.
why are you so scared?
You're the one
You
making
said I
the
was
claim,
scared.
Timmy.
Are you just
You-
making
I
You're
did.
that up?
saying that what's the
I'm
proof of your
I'm
claim?
telling you right now that you're scared because you keep talking.
John's still not going to answer.
Yeah, you little fucking clown, you.
Okay,
You made
sure.
the claim. What's this
one-on-one
angular
on my
size
channel.
of the sun? That's
Anytime,
your claim,
anytime.
right?
You want to do it right after this? How about right after this? Okay,
Yeah, I'll
let's
get
do it. I'll hit you
I'm
on
going-
your. I'll hit you on your comment section and then we'll do it right after
All
this.
All right. I'll give you much more respect on my channel. This is a troll channel, so.
So
Yeah,
since
you're
quantum
king
operator-
troll.
Oh, sorry.
No, this isn't a troll channel. You guys are trying to turn it into a troll channel.
Yeah, that's what he
I
is.
was
He's a king
trolling.
troll.
Don't lump me in with shit. I was trying with y'all, and y'all were being dicks. And
All right. Since quantum eraser is too scared to read the first part, I'm going to change the subject and say, I've learned
I'm too
another
scared.
thing.
I'm shaking in my boots. I read it
I've
3
learned-
friggin' times. I'm so scared. Oh no. Fucking
Yeah, please.
idiots.
Read it, then. Read it. Go on. Read it. Read it. Read.
Go ahead, read it.
Read it.
Read it, John. You're just so intellectually honest. Go ahead and read your citation there,
He's
buddy.
read it
I
3
did
times.
No,
What
the
about
whole
the beginning
thing.
of it? The whole
The
thing.
beginning to the end. Alpha, Omega. Sorry, I'm a little bit. Okay.
Can you show us a
Is this
gas
funny?
pressure without a container, clowns?
So you won't read it. You won't
Can
read
you
it.
show us a gas pressure without a container? That was the question.
Does
that
anybody
you red
not
herring
notice
fallacy
what's
away,
happening here?
Timmy. You little
He brings
clown,
up
you. Hey, let me
citations
ask
that
you
actually
something.
go
Do the
against what he's
stars
saying.
how
spin
about
north
this, John?
from
John, how
east
about
and
you
west,
post a link
and then
in
the
the side
south
chat?
spin from
Po-
west to
post-
east?
Post your
Timmy, clown.
citation.
This.
I'll pull it up and
Right.
I'll read it.
Thank
Timmy
you.
clown.
Okay.
Right?
Can you do that? Can you post it and I'll read it?
Why?
Post the link
Words have
Why?
meanings,
I just
guys.
read it.
Why?
Words
because
have
I want to read the whole thing myself.
Why?
Why? You don't even know what the scientific
Why?
method is.
Look,
Look at these guys. They won't even give you
this is
the
an odd
reference.
way of
Bunch of
doing
dickheads.
things, right? I'm asking you for the evidence, so please provide it to me.
Why?
Why?
You're a clown. You're a complete retard.
Oh my god!
Wow.
Insane.
Sorry, this doesn't change the necessary antecedent being a container. So that's never going to change. I mean, unless you've got a citation that you can give us that shows that you can have gas pressure without a container.
Yeah, and
Well,
then
I-
a demonstration of it.
I believe the one you guys were calling Timmy was bringing up some relatively good points because what he was
Really?
mentioning.
Like for
Well,
what?
yeah, allow me to explain. So
Oh,
what what he was mentioning was when you bring up examples like car tires and bike tires and things like that, the pressure contained within those things is a consistent pressure all throughout. Whereas with the Earth, when you climb a mountain, you'll find that the pressure is less than what it was when you're on.
How was it? Where'd you get the gas pressure at first?
The base of a mountain.
So
Where'd
what?
you get the gas
So-
pressure first?
So what? So what do you think that proves? Do you
So
think that
now,
sorry,
me
I hadn't
being
quite
an
finished. I'd let you jabber. So
Well, you asked
what,
me a question.
Yeah, what does it prove? Does it
Yeah,
prove
I'm
the
gonna
sky's
answer.
a vacuum?
So I I don't know what it proves.
So why would you assert that it's a good point? You don't even know what it proves, you complete retard. That's why I said we don't care what you think, because you're an idiot. So you telling me that it's a good point when you don't even know what it proves? What kind of retard are you?
The reason why it's a good point is...
You don't know why it's a good point. You've just told us that. You utter idiot. You don't even know the point he's making, and now you're going to try and defend that it's still a good point. You're an imbecile.
The reason why I'm trying to be intellectually honest and not make full proclamations, right? So the reason why I think it's a good point is because there aren't other examples of where pressure is inconsistent.
No. Stop, son.
Right?
There's no other examples of gas pressure without a container. See,
Except
you're
for the Earth.
skipping along. What comes first?
Yeah. Sorry, he responded, John. He said, except for the Earth. Like Timmy, all he's got is his fundamentalist zealot belief in a sky vacuum. That's all he's got.
Second grade circular. Listen to what they're saying.
Not like going out and
Listen to what
trying
they're
to
saying. Shut up.
Now he can't shut up.
Shut up. What they're saying is, their claim is that the Earth doesn't need a container.
Right.
Their proof for that claim is that they walk outside. That's their argument. That is their argument. The premise and conclusion, it's a circle jerk from the Black Lagoon. Begging the question fallacy, second grade.
Well, you can test that by climbing mountains.
There you go with the mountains again.
Yeah. Do you not get it, you stupid fundy? Do you not get it? How many times has it got to be explained to you? Going out and observing gas pressure would only indicate that there's definitely a container for it to press upon, because without the container, there can be no pressure. So you saying, well, we see a gradient. Do you think that proves there's a second law of thermodynamics violation, otherwise known as the vacuum of the sky?
No, but what I'm asking is, what would explain the inconsistency of pressure as you get higher? I would
Who
have to ask.
cares? Who cares? It doesn't prove your fundy belief in space.
No, it's about proving. It's about getting an explanation from you.
You're obfuscating the question. I have no problem in answering that question to you. That's the second question. You're obfuscating the first question. What comes first?
Question.
I'm going to ask, which comes first? Gas pressure or gas pressure gradients?
I don't know.
You don't know which comes first.
Gas pressure comes first. You can't have a gas pressure gradient without first having gas pressure.
Oh, so this is a chicken and the egg question.
No, it's a necessary antecedent question. Without the container, there can be no pressure. No pressure, no pressure gradient. Do you get it?
Open container or closed container? Or both?
Unless it's an open system.
You're right. Not an open system. If it was an open system,
you can have a level of gradients with pressure, and the explanation would be because it's an open system.
So can you demonstrate that?
The Earth.
Yeah, that's your fundy belief again, isn't it? So your claim is the Earth is an open system. Your proof is the claim that you're making. That's called a circle jerk, you stupid idiot.
We have plenty of evidence for it.
So can you demonstrate gas pressure without a container beyond your fundy belief?
Well, can I do it right here in the Hangout? No. But if we went out somewhere and did some stuff, I'm sure we could figure it out together.
What, and then send it off to the lab? You utter retard.
We would do everything from top to bottom.
You just said there's plenty of evidence. Where is it?
Well, the evidence, I could present it in here, and then we could go through all the science and all that
But we're
stuff,
talking about things that have already been established, right? So the evidence...
Yeah, you wouldn't believe me anyways. So it's
What do you mean?
Oh,
Just
yeah,
present
that's why
it.
we need a demonstration. Just go to YouTube and find us gas pressure. Find a tire pressure without the tire. That's your mission.
Like, let's say I say something like gravity, right? That's just going to send this place through the roof.
Well,
So
not a problem. Not a problem if you can prove that.
I already, well, that's the thing, right? I already kind of know where this is going to go when I bring up what I bring up, which is why I've been playing softball because I don't
you're
want
playing
to
softball. Okay,
get
try
on
this
the,
softball clown from techtarget.com. A gas is a sample of matter that conforms to the shape of a container in which it is held and acquires a uniform density inside the container. Even in the presence of gravity and regardless of the amount of substance in the container, if not confined to a container, gaseous matter, also known as vapor, will disperse into space. Bye-bye,
Open
gravity.
or closed? Open container or closed container? Okay.
Hey, Zinder, are we gonna
Open-
are you gonna tell us how we're not supposed to use sweeping generalizations and then use 5 sweeping generalizations in your next
Open or
statements?
closed container? I think. Like, can you read the thing again, please?
Zinder, show us that tree again, bro. Anyway.
Yes, but I agree. We are living in a container, but is it open or is it closed? That's the
Closed.
question.
Closed.
That's the question.
Yeah, if it was
No, it's an open
open,
container.
Zinder, and there was an assertion that the sky was a vacuum, then do you know what the gas would do? It would fill the space. It would expand rapidly in all directions, leaving us with no gas, because the infinite vacuum that the ball head claim is around would mean that there's an infinite amount of space for the gas to expand in all directions into, and we wouldn't have any gas. It would disperse into the space if it was an open container. But given that we do have gas, I'm going to assert that it's pressing on something, because without the container, there can be no pressure.
We have open container with gas that is heavier than air, and it doesn't fly out of the container.
Oh, really?
And it
Where
doesn't-
at? Show
It
us this.
doesn't. Yeah, like you already know. You have already seen this tinfoil boat, right?
Oh, yeah, the sulfur hexafluoride. Yeah, I got a question for you with
Like,
this sulfur
all right,
hexafluoride. How
when
do they
the
bring it
container
into
gets
the
open,
classroom,
really
clown show?
slowly.
How
No,
do they
wait,
bring the sulfur hexafluoride into the classroom? That's my first question. There's 4 after it.
It doesn't matter. We only look at the container
does.
that is open.
Sorry,
during
I'll answer
the
it then,
time.
Zinder, if you don't want to. Let's rattle them off, John. No worries, Zinder doesn't want to play. So they bring it in a sealed container, John.
Yeah, but they open it.
Yes,
So
that's
what?
our argument.
Yeah, now the container is open. Yes, we have.
No. The container's not
pressure.
open. It comes into a cylinder. They have a cylinder that they roll in, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that
That's
would be
right.
the container, the necessary antecedent to have gas pressure.
But the container is open when the boat floats inside. So
Oh,
it
wait a
doesn't
second.
matter
We're
what it was
talking about
before.
another container.
It doesn't matter.
I'm talking about the
Because-
initial container.
Maybe the Earth was closed with a shield, and then the shield was removed, and now we have
Son,
the same
let's
thing
stick with
the
the argument.
hexafluoride.
What's in the gas tank
Let's-
just behind the fish
Maybe
tank?
we were built by aliens, dude.
What's in the
Sorry,
gas
Zinder,
tank?
Zinder, you brought up sulfur hexafluoride. Is this just a garbage argument that you know we're going to crap all over?
No.
Yeah, he's seen me crap on it in Discord because they brought this up in Discord and I jacked it yard.
Because the gas,
Look at my screen. Look at my screen.
because the gas doesn't press on anything at the top because it can't press against air because it doesn't have enough density.
Okay, that
in
was my
order to
first
fit
question,
inside.
which I don't even need to ask any more questions. What's in the gas tank behind the fish tank? But I'll go on to my second question. Why is there a lid, like a cardboard lid, over the fish tank when the sulfur hexafluoride gas is added to the fish tank?
Because the sulfur hexafluoride came in with a velocity, and the thing just kept it inside until the air currents would equalize again.
Okay. Number 3, is sulfur hexafluoride gas a man-made gas or a natural gas?
It's a combination of natural things.
It's a combination of natural things. Is sulfur
combine those
hexafluoride
things.
man-made or is it natural, like oxygen, nitrogen, the things in our atmosphere?
Is the fish tank natural or not? Who knows?
You're not answering my
I'm not
question.
going to let him play this game. No. Sulfur hexafluoride is absolutely a man-made gas. It does not exist in nature. It's man-made.
For what?
Well, so
then
what? Then it's
let's
unavailable
take
for scientific
all right,
inquiry
then
into the cause here. So number 4,
let's
we would like to
no,
see.
no, 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 no,
Wait,
no,
wait a
no.
second. Hold on to
We
your
are not
panties,
finished. We are
Zinder.
not
Number
finished.
4.
We are not finished.
Why
We are
would
not finished. No,
we
we
would
are still
like
at
to
3.
see?
3, 1, 2, 3,
Can
1, 2,
you
3,
shut him up?
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3,
Shut
1,
him
2,
up.
3. 1, 2, 3.
Shut up.
Let's
1,
then
2,
this
3.
room
Yeah.
with
Here's number
hydrogen
4.
and fill and
Here's number
cylinder.
4, Clown Show. We would like to see the demonstration 1 hour after the sulfur hexafluoride gas is added to the fish tank. Not 2 seconds after it's added, not 3 seconds. We want that lid removed, and we want it an hour, and we want him to put that friggin' boat in that fish tank after 1 hour. Thank you
All right,
very much. The
I'm going
prosecution
to
rests.
write an email to him and say, Quantum Eraser, the god of science, wants to see sulfur hexafluoride inside the container, which is, by the way, it has to be natural because otherwise it doesn't work. Because
Sulfur
otherwise
hexafluoride
it
isn't
isn't a
natural.
part
It's
of
a
our real
man-made
world.
gas. You're a clown.
Then take away
Then
the top of the container. Take away the top of the container and wait. Just look at it and wait. And then put in a hamster or whatever, a mice, and
yes, sir.
Listen to the voice of the mice, and if the voice sounds strange, then the sulfur hexafluoride is still inside.
Those
If
are
it
the
doesn't
mice.
sound
What the
strange,
hell? Are you on
the sulfur
medication,
hexafluoride
son?
is gone.
Yeah, just
You
to
on
clarify,
medication?
just to summarise over the top of Zinder's total nonsense. What he's saying, Zinder, is after they do the demonstration where they bring in a cylinder to contain the pressurised gas and then put a lid on the fish tank so they can pump the pressurised gas into the fish tank, then they remove the lid and balance a boat on. Now, we would assert that the gas will fill the space available, given enough time, even though it's a super dense man-made gas. So what John's asking is, can we see it an hour later and see if the gas fills the space or if it remains in the fish tank?
Exactly. I would say that gas, even though it's man-made, is going to increase in entropy and fill the entire available volume. That means the gas tank is open. That gas is going to spill out of that container. And that's my argument. Thank you very much. The prosecution rests. Have a nice day.
Relative density. What about relative density? What about? Let's see. Maybe we can explain it by relative density. Is the gas, the sulfur hexafluoride inside the container, denser than air? Yes or no?
Yes.
Perfect. So why should it go out of the container?
Because the air
Let's find it out
has
next
got gaps.
episode of Nathan Oakley.
Are we not going to get to give an answer? Oh, my bad.
Okay. I'm sorry. Go on. Sorry.
Well, there's gaps between the particles of air. They're not held together with bonds that are impenetrable. So eventually, over time, entropy will take over, and the sulfur hexafluoride will simply fill the available space. Space being gaps between the other gases that are around it. So over time, that will definitely occur.
Perfect. Nathan Oakley won 1,000 points. Okay,
Right.
sorry, I'm gonna shut up.
Can I get it in cash, please?
No points. Points are.
Zinder, you just get in moods and shit, and you just want to be a clown sometimes, bro.
Dude, I have to kill 1 more hour, right? Until
I get it, man.
What am I going to do in that fucking in that hour? Sorry, I swear. I'm sorry.
You know what? Zinder, I don't even mind. I like you more than some of the other globe heads. So
you could finish off the Crayolas that you're munching
what
on.
would I do in that hour? And I have to talk to people, right? Because otherwise I feel lonely. Until my friends arrive, and then I can.
Hey guys, is there somebody else we can have a conversation with? I'm tired of sitting up here listening to this nonsense.
I'm sorry,
Put this
Slick,
guy
I'm sorry.
on mute. Do something with him. Kick him. Do something, because this is retarded.
Okay. I have another thing. I have another point. I found out that in order to manipulate the independent variable, you have to interact with it, right? You have to interact with the thing you want to manipulate. So my conclusion is that as soon as you perform an experiment, you are the cause, always. Prove me wrong. You are the cause. You are the cause for everything. We are the cause for anything that happens on Earth. That's great. And now I feel better about myself. Right?
Do you want to feel that, John, or can I?
Go ahead, Nathan.
So, if you were to come across, let's say, a boiling spring, yeah, and you're trying to figure out the cause of that spring being boiling, do you think that you, ipso facto, then are the cause of boiling water, Zinder?
Depends. As soon as I manipulate the independent variable, which would be, I don't know, we have science experts here on the panel. What is the independent variable?
Heat.
What is it? The heat.
Heat
So
is
you
the independent variable.
So you manipulate the heat. That means that you cause.
Yeah, that's right. We cause some heat, which causes what?
Which causes the boiling. So we cause boiling. That's great. We are the. No, wait. We are the independent variable.
No. You see, the independent variable was at play when you just stumbled across a hot spring that was boiling. So it's not that I caused that independent variable to cause water to boil. It was at play even before I got there, Zinder. But by performing the method, I can establish what caused that water to boil. Before I even got there, it definitely wasn't me. I just came across a hot spring with boiling water in it and wondered what caused it, and then established it by varying and manipulating various things until I got to the thing that caused it to boil.
All right, help me out, guys. Let's apply the scientific method to a hot boiling spring, a natural thing, right? Let's apply it to it. Let's see how do we manipulate the independent variable in order to find out what caused it.
We just did that. Where were you at? Munching crayons?
No, I was inspired by the nature around me.
Okay, no, I get you, Zinder. So you come across a boiling hot spring, and you go, what might cause this? Well, the method gives you the method. First, you assume what your cause is. You then formulate it into a supposition, a hypothesis, a prediction that you then validate or invalidate. So you come across the boiling spring and go, I think acid causes the water to boil. So then you go and get some water, and then you vary and manipulate the acid content of the water, and you know what happens? It doesn't boil. And you go, just validate my null there, didn't I? I didn't get the right cause of the effect. Then you go, I wonder if as opposed to acid, it's heat. So then you apply heat and then see that it causes boiling, and bingo, you validate your scientific prediction, otherwise known as a hypothesis, when you presumed that heat caused it as opposed to acid causing it.
I think acid caused it because when I'm not on acid, which isn't very often, by the way.
See what I mean? Wait a minute, hold on. Listen, guys, somebody do something about this ridiculousness.
I love how your tolerance, Slick, has gone from about 10 to about 4 over the last 3 debates.
Yeah, he's out of this.
Wait, sorry. I have to be serious again. When I'm not on acid, for example, the lake I showed you before, right? When I'm not on acid, it doesn't boil. When I'm on acid, it does boil. So, maybe acid. Maybe it was acid.
Yeah, okay. Your subjective experience of it boiling might not be real, though, so you might see it boiling, but I doubt the lake you're looking at's boiling, even though it looks like it to you on acid.
Right, it has to be shared reality.
Yeah,
so
that's a shame.
Your acid reality doesn't count.
Okay.
That's his individual experience.
Hey, I just wanted to make sure before you guys go. Hey, Slick, did you hear me apologize for calling you a hippie before?
Yeah, I appreciate it. And let me tell you the reason why is because when I make a serious statement, if you attach a word like hippie to it, then people think that every time I say something serious, I'm just being a hippie. And that's why I don't like that kind of stuff, because I'm always serious.
I got you. Fair enough. I won't be parroting what Nathan first called you. I took it and
give
ran
over. I understand.
Okay.
I apologise too, Slick. It undermines what you're saying. I totally get it. Yeah.
Apology accepted, no problem.
Please accept my apology for that. I will not call you a hippie anymore, but everyone else on the panel, that doesn't go for you.
No problem. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
I have one last
hippie. I want to go play around in trees and
smoke weed.
Hey, Vanilla, go on mute, please.
I have one last thing to say. I'm going on a journey, and I'm really glad I learned so much from you guys, especially you, Nathan. It was great. It was really great.
You're welcome.
And with
Anytime.
that knowledge, with that knowledge, I'm going to make the world a better place. I think, maybe. And
Should we all sing?
when I return, I'm going to tell you all about my journey and how it was and how I felt and everything. And I hope you appreciate that you are my mentor now. Thank you.
Are you going on an ayahuasca trip? Is that what you're going to do?
No, I'm going on a spiritual journey around the world. I think, maybe. We'll see. And then I'm going to apply all the knowledge I gathered from you.
Hey Joseph, if you're listening, can you see why we get so upset at people, and that's why you kind of got caught up in that situation? Because of people like this that just do nothing but clown. See, we're trying to have a serious conversation, but for some reason, globe people are incapable of having a serious conversation without getting all silly.
The reason
the
reason for that is because this is not something that's taken seriously, right? That's the thing.
Okay, well then don't talk about it.
Well, people talk about it because it's being brought up in the social ether, and some people feel that it's an irresponsible idea to spread around, and they feel they should talk about the science that we understand now and try to educate people. That's how this is always going to be, right?
So what you're saying is that you're the judge on what should be talked about and what shouldn't.
I'm saying free speech. I'm saying free speech. So if you are going to go around and say ideas of certain things, what you believe about science and all that sort of thing, then people are going to combat you on that. That's right. But I'm saying both are okay.
Right, but you can combat, but can't you be serious about it instead of trolling? How come you can't just have a serious conversation about it without getting silly, like Zender just did?
It's hard. It's a like, I'm not trying to be condescending, but it's a silly idea that the Earth is flat. Like, I'm sorry. That's just
right. Hold on, please. Can I respond?
No, I just want to say though, that's my opinion. No, that's not a criticism or a judgment on you.
I heard you, but now can I respond to you? The globe idea is silly to us.
Right. I understand that.
Okay, so it's a two-way street.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying right now. I'm saying it's a two-way street, right? Both sides are going to vocalize how they view the other side. Right,
but the difference is we're having. But the difference. I'm sorry to cut you off, but you're just too long-winded. But the difference is we're ready to have a serious conversation. All you want to do is play games.
Well, Nathan doesn't seem to have an issue with it. He was laughing along a little bit, right? And that's cool. I don't know whose channel. I think it's his channel or whatever. But it's a natural flow of conversation. If it's bothering you that much, then just don't engage.
No, he wasn't laughing along. He was.
No, hold on, please. Don't jump in on me. Let me have my own conversation. Listen, it's not that it's bothering me, but if I'm having a serious conversation and you're playing, how is that not going to bother me? What kind of thing is this that you can't have a serious conversation without interjecting silliness? You can't do that or something? Aren't you mature? You are grown, right?
I get what you mean, and I'm not defending it wholly, but I'm saying in conversation, sometimes people might take jabs, they might make jokes. It's just, it's the way it goes, man. It happens a lot.
Okay, so if we make a jab and a joke at you like Nathan was doing when he was telling you that you were ignorant, then you should be able to understand that, right?
That's name calling. That's not the same thing.
Okay,
this guy was just joking about how he took acid, right? It's just he was joking about how he took acid and whatever.
John,
and you're like, oh man, we gotta get rid of this guy.
No, hold on, please. I'm having a conversation with this guy.
I didn't say anything. I was on fucking mute.
Okay, so anyway,
let's tone it down.
The point is that
chill.
You were just saying a little while ago how it should be a nice little jive back and forth. But when Nathan gave you his jive to you back and forth, you thought that he was being rude and disrespectful. So you can't have it both ways.
No, there's a difference between this guy just sitting here right now making a joke and clowning, right? And like name calling, being like, you ignoramus or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, that's different. Those are two different things.
It's not name calling. You are demonstrably ignorant. I'm not calling you a name. That's a fact.
It is a name.
That's a name. No, it's a label for something you demonstrate as a behavior. Ignorance.
Yeah, but so is a racial epithet. That's also a label, but that's also a name.
No. Walking up to let me finish. Walking up to a black man and calling him a nigger is not the same as me pointing out your ignorance based on your ignorance. Those two things are very different.
No, if you say to someone you're ignorant, that's an insult.
Yeah, if there's no demonstration of ignorance that preceded it.
No,
In your case, there's a demonstration of ignorance, you declaring you know what the scientific method is, then we pull it apart and demonstrate with your own examples that you don't understand what you're talking about. Then I declare that that is ignorance, because it is.
Right. That's your understanding.
No, that's your lack of understanding. That's what ignorance is. A lack thereof. And that's you that demonstrates that. I'm just pointing out that that is ignorance. It's not calling you a name.
That is a name.
No, it's a demonstration of a behavior. Not a name. A demonstration of your behavior. Your behavior being ignorant. Ignorant of the details and facts. That's not a name.
That's not an ad hominem.
Do you call mentally disabled people retards?
If they are retarded, retardation is a description.
Oh, okay. That's good to know. So you obviously we see differently.
What was funny in that? What was funny in that?
Because we don't see eye to eye on this philosophy, and we're not going to agree. So
philosophy.
It's just a word. Retardation.
I understand it's a word, but words have connotations. They have meaning. They have use.
Yeah, retardation means to hold back. Yeah. So if you're asking me if people are mentally held back, yes.
You would say your child's a retard.
I would say they have a retardation, meaning they are held back mentally. Wow. That is an apt and accurate description. Yes. That's in the same way, I would describe you as ignorant, because you are.
Yeah, we're not going to agree on this, man. This is
swallow a band-aid.
Disagree subject, son.
Get over it.
We're not talking about our favorite colors, right?
No, I know, but there's just a level of consideration for language that I
you just keep on talking.
I'll tell you what,
you made a horse's ass out of yourself.
I know it's the internet.
In front of about 600 people.
I'm not.
I love when y'all come in here and talk about there should be some consideration. When you come in here on the premise of trying to insult us for what we
are
talking about here.
I did no such thing,
man.
I came in politely.
You came in here. You said that. Everyone's laughing at you guys because this is what you believe. This is the thing in the ether. Are you kidding?
We lost you guys.
That's me stating how I was asked a question and I answered it in that way, right? I said the reason why people will come in here and clown people as opposed to trying to have a serious conversation is because socially speaking, right, it's seen as something that's a joke. And whether you take that as an insult whether you take that as an insult or not, that's what's looked at it socially. Just like there's a lot of things that are looked
everyone thinks
socially,
about it,
right?
Who cares?
Like I don't like the fact that the KKK exists.
Who cares?
Right? But they exist, right? And they
Who
exist
cares?
socially, and that's something that I don't like.
Who
right?
cares about your little social
it's something
thing
that you don't like
friggin'
that people
parody?
think that this
Who
is a joke.
cares?
Right?
Demonstrate
That's what I'm saying.
your claims.
John, give me a second.
Provide evidence to support your
crazy.
beliefs. Can't shut up.
You said you've been in this game since 2008?
I'm saying I've seen it around, talked about on the internet at least since 2008. Yeah.
So why would you think it's not serious?
The reason why I don't think people take it serious is because of the amount of evidence that we have.
You don't have any evidence.
Look.
Actually,
do you think if you had any actual evidence that we would all be here right now?
Well, there is.
Tell me honestly, bro.
Yeah, I'll
do
answer
you think if there was any actual observable, repeatable proof of this ball that you think you live on, would we be here asking these questions right now?
So there's two ways to answer that, but I'll just say this. I think that we would be here regardless because humans have a propensity to want to fight the status quo. Now, apart from that, there is evidence. There is evidence. It's just it's not evidence that you're willing to accept.
No. There is no scientific evidence. If you had some, you would have demonstrated it on the show, but all
Well,
you
if I show you a
was
photo of
ignorance.
Earth, for example, right?
That's
You're not going
evidence.
to accept that. Right,
That's
exactly.
not
That's what I mean. That's what I'm saying.
scientific evidence. That's
So
why
you
we're
won't
not
accept that.
accepting it.
Hold on.
Shut up! Shut your mouth! God!
Don't have a heart attack, man.
I'm
Calm
not.
down.
I'm tired of your fucking diarrhea of the mouth. You're not saying anything. Your evidence. What is your evidence of your spinning ball religion? We want scientific evidence. Go.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. I already said, and I predicted correctly, that the evidence that I would present here and now, you won't accept.
What
Right.
evidence?
So you brought up a picture of space, right? So when I can hear somebody who actually worked at NASA, who created a picture, right? Not took a picture, created it.
Wait a second.
Artistically.
Wait a second.
How
Wait
do
a
I
second,
take that
Chocolate.
as evidence?
Wait a
of
second,
your ball?
Chocolate. I asked for
Well-
scientific evidence. Here is the definition of scientific evidence. The
Oh my
testing
gosh.
of a hypothesis or theory that is objective in a controlled environment. Do you see any fucking pictures in there?
So, to answer your question, I can show you, if you don't trust NASA, I can show you photos from the
What
Japanese
did
satellite.
I just read to you?
I can show you
What
photos
did
from the
I
SpaceX
just read to
program.
you?
He's not listening or acknowledging anything everybody says ever. So
No,
you
I'm
guys-
acknowledging what the other guy was saying
No,
because
no,
this
no,
dude's
no.
yelling at me.
Stop. So
Right.
the standard of evidence that we want is scientific evidence. The standard of evidence that you're presenting is a photograph from a medium that can't exist. So if you are to assert that these pictures, which have come from an alleged vacuum of space, then you first need to demonstrate how we can have a vacuum of space. Given that we have asked you repeatedly to demonstrate gas pressure without a container, and pointed out that when you say going outside, we say that's the thing you're trying to prove. So can you demonstrate that it's possible to have a second law of thermodynamics violation, known as the vacuum of the sky, to be able to take pictures from it?
Nathan, short of doing a scientific experiment in this hangout right now, the answer is no. Right here, right now? No, of course not. And you know that.
You don't
know I
need an
can't present to you.
extrapolation of your no. I can't prove there's a vacuum of the sky.
on, man.
Well, if you can't prove that the sky is a vacuum, why on earth would I accept pictures from a medium that can't possibly exist?
Well, that's the problem.
And why on earth would you believe it?
But that's the problem that we face, is that the baseline stuff that we would get to establish that satellites can be in orbit and take photos and stuff, you don't accept that.
No,
Oh my
are
God,
you
here we go
deaf?
again.
This is so annoying. I've just explained that the very medium where those satellites are cannot possibly exist. You can't have gas pressure that we're all breathing next to a vacuum. So the assertion that you've got pictures from that medium automatically makes them fake, because you can't have gas pressure next to a vacuum. So if you're saying I've got pictures from a vacuum, well, the pictures are from a fake medium.
Yeah, that's the second
So
point.
So what I'm saying, Nathan, is that
hold on a
right.
second.
So we
That's
can't
the
even
second point.
get to
hold
the
on
point
a second. Hold on a second.
where.
son.
Okay, go ahead.
Hold on a second. That was that Nathan just provided you point number 2. Point number 1 is we asked for scientific evidence. The definition of scientific evidence from the Law Dictionary: the testing of a hypothesis or theory that is objective in a controlled environment. Do you see any pictures in that definition?
No, right. So what? Yeah, no, there's no pictures. So what I'm saying is, short of the evidence that we have to get to show you would be rigorous experimentation, right? So considering we can't do that in this hangout, we can't further the conversation because I can't give you the proofs you're after, because I can't produce that here on the internet unless it's in the form
You
of
don't have to
like
produce
paper.
it. You don't
Hold
have
on,
to
wait,
do it
dude,
yourself,
just
sir.
let me say what I'm saying, right?
You don't have
Just
to
let me
do it
say what I'm
yourself.
saying.
There's been 2,000 years. All you have to do is go find it and present it. You don't have to do it yourself.
That's what I'm saying. So, and then if I present like things like articles and papers and things of that nature, and it's stuff that you're not willing to accept, then
Nope. We didn't say we were not willing to accept that. You have to show those citations. You understand that citations only support an argument. They are not the argument. Do you understand that?
Yes. So if I were to produce some sort of published paper, right, that's been peer reviewed and has gone through the process of saying, yes, this is the answer to X question, right? If I were to produce something like that, that affirms what conventional science says about the atmosphere and outer space and all of that stuff and satellites, is that something you'd be willing to accept, or do you need the actual experience of doing the experiment yourself?
Right.
And
We need
getting the
we
results
need you to
yourself?
walk us through it. Yep. You bring the paper, and then you need to walk us through the steps of the scientific method that are in the paper, and then we need to evaluate it based on natural law and scientific theory. So that would be fine.
So there are parts of science that you do accept then?
No, we accept the scientific method. The parts of science are the scientific method. Observe a natural phenomenon, construct a formal hypothesis, and perform systematic experimentation. That's science.
But what I mean when I say that is, like, you accept things like the laws of thermodynamics, gas pressure, energy, momentum, all that stuff, right?
Yes. Natural laws, depending on what law it is, yes.
So there's some that you don't accept.
Well, you're going to have to validate each claim that you have.
So how do you determine on which law you accept and which law you reject?
The ones that are already validated.
But wouldn't a law be a law in virtue of it because of its validation?
No, because people equivocate and use law, like the universal law of gravitation. That's not a law. So that's why I said that.
What about the second law of thermodynamics?
Second law of thermodynamics is fine. We witness this every day. Heat flows from hot to cold always. Energy from concentrated to dispersed always. High gas pressure to low gas pressure always. We observe that every day. We experience it. That's fine.
But you know that rule also invokes gravity.
It does not. Second law of thermodynamics has nothing to do with gravity.
Have you read it recently?
Yeah, I read it. I'm an expert in thermodynamics. I
Would
knew
you
more
like-
about thermodynamics in
Okay.
junior high than you know now.
Can somebody bring it up on the screen? Just real quick, just to make
I
sure. 'Cause
can't.
I don't want
I
to.
can't.
I
because
posted a
I'm in Skype.
definition in the side. I can read it off if you guys want.
I can't because I'm in Skype.
Can someone present it? So anybody who's got access to the side chat, if you can get it up on screen, I can present it.
I'm on a phone. I can't.
Anybody on the panel? Paul, maybe?
Do you want the wiki or do you want the
phone?
Don't care.
Is it in
Wiki
the Hangout chat
Whatever
or
you
is it in
like,
the Skype
don't care.
chat?
I put it out in it's in the Hangout chat. I grabbed the definition real quick. I'll just screen
And you
share.
better have citations.
It's all right. It's all right. Hold
I
on.
don't
Hold
see
on.
it.
So I think Joseph is sharing it.
Yeah, I'll just screen share. I don't know
Thank
how
you very
well
much.
you'll be able to see the chat though.
Is it a wiki? Is there a citation with that wiki?
Yeah, I could just pull up the actual citation.
No.
instead of-
Wiki's not a citation. I need a citation within wiki.
Well, you're getting a definition of the second law. That's all you're getting.
No. I need a citation other than wiki. Anybody can add or take away. I mean, anybody. Your sister and everyone could add to wiki if there's not a
that's fair.
parenthetically cited part in there. Do you understand what I'm talking about?
No, that's fair. That's why wiki. You can't use wiki when you write papers in school.
Exactly. You got it. And we
Yeah.
won't accept it here unless there's a citation that you could take us to.
No, fair enough. I'll find a more concrete one from like a
But
science website.
In the meantime, Carlos, I'm sure you had a point. Carry on. Be my guest. Make your point, even though we haven't got the citation up. That's fine.
Well, in that second law, it says that the pressure would equalize in a gradient horizontally because of gravity.
No, that's not the second law. Second law has
Okay.
nothing to do with gravity. The laws of thermodynamics have nothing to do with gravity.
And that's what I asked for somebody to bring it up because that's what I read. And if that was the case,
well,
then
that's
it was
wrong.
Well, yeah.
Okay,
Well, then,
that-
okay. Now we are down to needing to see it on a citation. Then.
Yeah, it's wrong. Do you understand? You know, the laws of thermodynamics and the universal law of gravitation are two separate things. Do you understand that?
I'm aware, but when I looked up the laws of thermodynamics, I read and it was talking about pressure gradients and dispersing horizontally, and because of gravity.
Here we go with pressure
So I-
gradients again. Where did you get gas pressure? What comes first, gas pressure or gas pressure gradients?
Let me think about that for a second. What comes first, pressure gradient or gas pressure? That's the question, right?
Yeah, which comes first, gas pressure or gas pressure gradients?
I honestly can't give you an answer right now.
Well,
Are you
let me
kidding
try rephrasing it. If you say I've got a red car, which comes first, the car or the red car?
In that context, the car.
Right. So without having a car, you can't have a red car. So which do you think comes first? A gas pressure gradient or gas pressure? Which do you think comes first? The clue being that the word gas pressure is in gas pressure gradient. Bit like red car, the clue being that the word car's in there, meaning you'd need the car first for it to be red. Well, you'd need gas pressure first to have a gas pressure gradient. No, this not ringing any bells? You're not picking up what I'm putting down?
No, he did say.
I get what you're saying, but I don't want to answer before thinking about it hard enough or researching. But if you phrase it that way.
But the point is, sir, I don't mean to embarrass you. This is a first grader can answer that question in less than 2 seconds.
I found a non-Wikipedia.
Oh, cool. Is that you, Joseph? Joseph, yeah?
So I'll rattle it off real quick. So the laws of thermodynamics describe the relationships between thermal energy or heat and other forms of energy and how energy affects matter. The first law of thermodynamics states that energy cannot be created or destroyed. The total quantity of energy in the universe stays the same. The second law of thermodynamics is about the quality of energy. It states that as energy is transferred or transformed, more and more of it is wasted. The second law also states that there is a natural tendency of any isolated system to degenerate into a more distorted state.
Now, do you understand what that means? Even though it's from Live Science, this is popular nonsense. I'll go ahead and accept that. Do you understand what the first and second laws state then?
Yes.
You just read it, right? So what they're talking about is entropy.
Hold on, John. So Carlos answered yes. Joseph, you read the citation from Live Science. Do you understand what it means?
This explanation here?
Yeah,
I'm
it doesn't matter if the
rest
answer's
of the
no.
article.
It doesn't matter if you say no. I don't really understand it.
No, I don't. Yeah, I'm gonna have to read this. I was actually reading it.
Very simply, it's talking about entropy. And like I said, you can summarize the second law of thermodynamics. There's 4 laws. We're just talking about the second. You can summarize the second law of thermodynamics by saying, unless hindered purposely in nature, heat will always flow from hot to cold, energy concentrated to dispersed, and high gas pressure to low gas pressure always. Do you understand that? That's what it's saying. Hello?
Talking to Joseph or me?
Well, Joseph because he's read it, but anybody on the panel, but Joseph specifically because he's read the citation.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you the reason why I brought it up is because I have read that another part to it, in regards to pressure gradients and stacking in a horizontal orientation.
We don't really care.
Gravity. That's the only reason why I brought it up. I'm just explaining why I brought it up. But
it doesn't have anything to do with the second law. You just read it. It didn't say anything about gravity in it, did it?
Like I said, that where I read it, they had another paragraph along with that, and I was just wondering if you guys were aware of that. That's the only reason I brought it up. What he just read did not contain that, and I'm agreeing with you and saying, okay, it's not there, and we're moving on.
I'm just asking you because you said that you read this from somewhere. We don't know where. All I'm saying is that the universal law of gravitation, Newton's law, and the second law of thermodynamics have nothing to do with one another.
Fair enough.
Right.
I think I know the question he's trying to ask. I want to ask you a question, John. This might help.
Okay.
Maybe
Sure.
clarify it. But if I shake up a bottle of Italian dressing, I'm adding energy to that bottle. Would you agree? But over time, the liquids start to separate, and you get the different, whatever you call it, viscosity, whatever it is. Now, would that be obeying entropy, or would it not be obeying entropy?
No, it's fine. There's no problem.
Okay, so it would be so me adding energy is reducing the entropy, but then as it settles down, it's increasing entropy.
No,
right?
no. You adding energy increase the entropy, right? It's more dissolved. It's more spread out. It's more. There's increased entropy in it. It's more gaggled. So, but that's what happens when you add energy. Like when you add energy to a gas. Let's say you heat a gas. What happens to it?
It's bigger.
Right, it creates more pressure. Yeah.
Right, it creates more pressure, and the particles move faster and faster, right? So you're increasing entropy.
So how would that settling back into the natural state? How would that fall in the first, second, or third law?
Well, the decreasing because of density, we got density going on here between the different objects because you remove the heat, right? It's going to separate out into the different layers of density. You know, Anthony's little cherry tomato thing, right?
Right.
Okay, but
I'm asking these questions for a reason.
okay, but if I pump water to a dam, right, in order to create an equilibrium for it to later use the energy, didn't I decrease the entropy?
By putting more energy in? Sorry, say that again. Did you say, are you decreasing entropy by putting more energy in to any given system?
Yeah, like I put energy inside the system. Let's say that I pump the water to a dam, and then when I release it, I decrease the energy, right, of the system. So when I decrease it, the entropy should rise. When I increase it, the entropy drops. Right?
No,
let's
the
say
entropy. The entropy increases until it reaches equilibrium, until all of the available energy runs out. So the available energy available for use is running out.
Yeah.
But right, and it's water too. So,
but that's entropy. That is the essence of entropy.
Right.
The available energy
water,
running out.
When it settles, water settles. Right. It's a liquid. It has intermolecular bonds, so it'll reach its lowest energy state possible.
Yeah.
So when I shake up that Italian dressing bottle, as the energy is reducing, it settles back out into its normal state. Right? Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, it's seeking equilibrium. It's always seeking equilibrium in the same way as the gas, which we assert would expand out into the infinite expanding universe. Well, it's seeking a lack of energy, if you will. So it's trying to dissipate all of the energy available, and that process will get less and less and less and less and less until it reaches equilibrium.
Right. So those gases will increase into the volume that's given to it, right? So, but the volume that's given to it in the fairy tale narrative of the spinning ball Earth is 3.58 times 10 to the 80th cubic meters, right? At that, it has an equilibrium torr at a jaw-dropping 10 to the negative 17th torr. So, what should happen is we at sea level, we on Earth, which should be at 10 to the negative 17th torr. How are you breathing, in other words?
Joseph, do you understand that?
Do you guys understand that? Gases will fill the available volume, right, to reach equilibrium. It'll increase entropy until it reaches equilibrium. But that equilibrium, that volume of your fairy tale, no, I'm not saying your fairy tale, I'm just saying the narrative that's given to us, that the vacuum of space is 10 to the negative 17 torr, right? That's a pressure value. So if we reach equilibrium, which it has to, according to the second law of thermodynamics, then we must be on the surface of the Earth 10 to the negative 17 torr. It's just that simple.
But we're not. We've got gas pressure. It's self-evident. Therefore, there must be the necessary antecedent of something to press upon in order for us to have the gas pressure. So when the fundy zealots say you just need to go outside, I say, yeah. I go outside and say, gas pressure definitely needs the antecedent of a container.
Yep. But the argument's as simple as that. You can't get around it. I mean, you could try. You could try and falsify the second law of thermodynamics. Best wishes.
Did you hear Brenda's? Sorry, go on, Zinder.
Sorry, I would really like to argue about that, but I have 4% of battery. And before my phone dies and before I go on my journey, I would like to say something to Chocolate and to Slick if they're here.
If it's racist, then don't. Just because you're drunk, don't do it.
No, I'm going to say it. First of all, Chocolate, like you said, like Globers make fun of flat earthers, and I can agree. I mean, many Globers do, but I think I don't really. We all love you, Chocolate, and I want to pay to you my fullest respect and have a really, really great time in the future. Maybe I'm coming back, maybe I'm not. But we will see. And until then, have a great life. And Slick, if you're here, I can learn a lot from you. You are really peaceful, and you showed me that the right way to approach to life is by keeping it simple and by searching the most simple answer to a question. And I think I can take it on my journey. And thank you very much for teaching it to me.
I think the acid is kicking in.
I guess I'll say thank you. Thank you, Zinder.
It's all right.
Thanks, Zinder.
Acid every day.
I didn't want to leave with so much with bad air around, right? So
that's cool.
That's all right.
Cool, Zinder.
Thanks, Zinder. I appreciate it.
Wherever it is. Enjoy.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guy. Appreciate that for real, big time.
Kumbaya, my lord. Kumbaya. Oh, Lord, kumbaya. Yeah, so anyway, John, did you see Brenda use an affirming the consequent formal logical fallacy to disprove the second law of thermodynamics yesterday?
I think I missed that. What did she do?
She basically asserted using if P then Q therefore P that the second law of thermodynamics isn't applicable because we have a gas pressure outside our front door.
Can you put it into form for me?
I mirrored it. So on the main channel, on Nathan Oakley channel, where this will be going out on Sunday, I mirrored it. So it's only a 10-minute section. But essentially, we had Zinder accusing me of affirming the consequent because I described if P then Q, i.e. the necessary antecedent for gas pressure.
Yeah, I caught a little bit of that. Okay, yeah. Did you pull it out? Isn't another video?
I've mirrored it. So it's I think I've called it Boyle's law and the vacuum of the sky. But essentially, she was like, I can't remember how she formulated it now. I think it was something along the lines of, if there is a gas pressure, then the second law of thermodynamics does not apply. The second law of thermodynamics doesn't apply because we have a gas pressure. I think that's how she formulated it. But like I say, this was literally just after being accused of affirming the consequent for declaring that we have to have the necessary antecedent of a container, which is if P then Q. But then they tried to spin that into me saying, well, I'm declaring that if we have a gas pressure gradient, therefore we've got a container, therefore we must have a pressure gradient. And I'm not asserting that having a container means you must have a pressure gradient. I'm asserting
I gotcha.
So I got quite angry with Zinder because I'm like, well, no, don't accuse me of affirming the consequent just because I've declared if P then Q. So he's obviously spotted half of what would be used to back up the starting point of if P then Q, Q therefore P. But I'm not trying to prove that if you have a container, you have a pressure gradient. So in other words, I'm not guilty of any logical fallacy. But literally about 10 minutes later, Brenda then uses if P then Q, Q therefore P to disprove the second law of thermodynamics.
I gotta check it. Too funny. Yeah.
Hey, Nathan.
Yes.
I just dropped on the chat the link of what I read and what I was referring to.
Oh, okay, cool. Let's have a look.
On it was on Wikipedia. That way it clarifies what I was talking
Oh,
about.
it's in the. Have you put it in the back?
But,
Are you on a phone? Is it in the back chat? 'Cause if so, I can't get to it.
Say that again.
I'm on a phone.
Can you get to that link?
I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
Okay, Paul. I can't get to the back chat basically. In the main hangout, I don't get access to the bit that the phone users get. But yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Nathan. It sounds like you're pretty relaxed. This is Friday. You got some time you could burn.
A little bit. I mean, because I do these 2 pre-records on the second show, it means that I get my Saturday and Sunday free, or I did, but for Ballbusters, which I don't know. We've not talked about this week, so I don't know if you had any intentions, because I hadn't got any aspirations of doing a Ballbusters.
Oh, you know what? I didn't even think about it, man. I forgot all about it. What would you
Exactly.
want to do?
Not really.
It seems gravity. It seems that this gravity thing just doesn't go away. We got people, everyone appeals to it. Do you want to do a presentation? We'll go Newton and Einstein.
Yeah, I mean, if there's a Ballbusters to be done, I'll do one.
We could do gravity. This is short notice. Let me try and put it together.
For tomorrow.
Oh, you want to do it tomorrow?
Yeah, if we're gonna do it. I don't want.
what
I've said this
time?
before. I don't want to compete. I don't want to do a. I've forgotten what the name of the channel is. The one with Laurie Gale
Right.
and Lawrence Wright, and they used to go up against Globebusters, and it's like, why? You don't have to.
Yeah. Right. So you want to do it tomorrow? What time tomorrow?
Same as ever. So it would be 7 my time. I think that's midday your time. No, 2 o'clock your time. I don't know. Whatever the normal time we did it.
All right. I'll have to. That's man. You guys make me. What's my wages?
25 hours from now.
I'm gonna have to restructure my contract. What's my wages again?
0.
Wait,
I'll give you a
there's
quarter.
not too much restructuring there.
In some instances, the panel pay me. Shout out to Paul.
That's poor.
I see what you did there, Nathan. Nice.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, sir. Are you asking me to put that together
I'd love to do a Ballbusters tomorrow.
on gravity?
On gravity, yeah. Because I think you're right. It's like the stale fat that won't go away.
All right. Since you're asking me nicely, I'm gonna have to put that thing together then.
Okay, well, I'll put the bat signal out to the other Ballbusters, and hopefully we'll have a show on Sunday. And with that, I am going to actually say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the, let me get this right, premiering audience in the Nathan Oakley 1980 stream. So massive thanks for sharing, subscribing, hopefully smashing the super chat and all that good stuff. If you need something to keep you occupied after this premiering stream has ended, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. Once again, a massive thank you to all of the debating panel for making this after show possible. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!